What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto sacrificed himself in the war, only to be reborn in Attack on Titan to save humanity again? If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. In a dark place, unable to see the bottom and with no perspective, in the center of this darkness, floated the body of a young person about 16/17 of a year old, with blonde hair and 3 marks on each cheek, resembling cat whiskers. This was Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto's eyes began to open, revealing his blue eyes. Naruto. Ah, my whole body hurts, he thought while looking around. He slowly got up and started looking around, realizing he was in the void. Naruto. Where am I? It didn't take long for him to remember what had happened. While still thinking, he was interrupted by a rather familiar grunt. Naruto. Kurama. Kurama. Don't yell, brat. I'm not deaf. Naruto. Who are you calling a brat, you fleabag? Kurama. Say that again, kid. Naruto. Besides being flea-infested, he's deaf and stubborn. Kurama. You little brat. The confrontation continued, with audible insults and explosions creating powerful gusts of wind. All of this was being observed by 2 individuals, who had beads of sweat on their foreheads due to the stupidity of the battle. Should we interrupt them to talk, Hagoromo-san? Hagoromo. Do you really think so, Shinigami-san? It seems like they're having fun. The 2, now known as Hagoromo and Shinigami, continued watching the battle, with the beads of sweat on their foreheads increasing over time due to the insults and techniques being thrown at each other. Shinigami. Are you going to stop this fight, or should I interfere? He said, irritated. Hagoromo. Do as you wish, Shinigami-san. He said, smiling. Shinigami. Stop fighting, you idiots. Naruto. Kurama. Who are you calling an idiot, you old man? At that moment, the environment fell into complete silence. Everyone in the room felt an immense pressure and a strong killing intent, making them all shiver. Hagoromo trembled before the sheer stupidity and mistake they had made. He began praying that they would stay alive. On the other hand, Shinigami's eyes were covered by his hair, emanating an evil aura that promised pain, lots of pain. Everyone shuddered even more upon seeing a sinister smile form on Shinigami's face. Naruto and Kurama regretted what they had done as they embraced each other. They were terrified by the killing intent that promised a lot of pain. Shinigami. You will die, he said, smiling. Naruto. Kurama. Mommy. 1 hour later, with some broken bones, Shinigami returned to Hagoromo's side with a big smile. Hagoromo had a bead of sweat on his forehead as he looked at the scene before him. Naruto and Kurama with blank eyes and bruises all over their bodies, mumbling something about aggressive old men. Hagoromo. Was that really necessary? Shinigami. Why do you say that? He said innocently. Hagoromo just pointed to Naruto and Kurama, who were unconscious. Shinigami just let out a small laugh, and Hagoromo's sweat bead grew bigger. 30 minutes later, both Naruto and Kurama started to wake up, groaning in pain. Kurama. Arg, it feels like all my bones are broken. Naruto. Shut up, Hagoromo. You 2 finally woke up. Naruto. Kurama. Old man, father. Hagoromo. Calm down, I know you have many questions, and I will answer them one at a time. Naruto. Where are we, old man? Hagoromo. We are between life and death, heaven and hell, also known as the void, where the deeds of people are judged to decide their fate. Naruto. Does this mean we're dead? Hagoromo. Sadly, yes, Naruto. I'm sorry, but you made the best choice, and I'm very proud of you. Naruto. Did we win the war? And how are my friends? Hagoromo. Yes, you won the war. Your friends are fine, they had a good life. Sasuke kept his promise and became Hokage, and married Sakura. The others also married and had children, etc. Naruto. What do you mean, had, old man? Hagoromo. How long do you think you've been here? Kurama, who had been quiet, decided to speak. Kurama. I think 2 days, father. Hagoromo. The problem is that time in limbo is not the same as in the real world. Naruto. What are you getting at, old man? Hagoromo. Well, since your death, 200 years have passed, Naruto. So, everyone you knew is now gone. I'm sorry. At that moment, Naruto's world crumbled. Everything he had fought for had been lost again. He lowered his head, and the others could see tears running down his face. After a while, he asked, Naruto, did they live happily? This question made the three smile. Shinigami, who had been silent, spoke. Shinigami. Yes, Naruto. They had a happy and peaceful life. Naruto. Thank you. And who are you? He said, curious to know who this person was. Shinigami. Oh, sorry. My name is Shinigami, I am the god of death. I wanted to say that you did the right thing and apologize for taking your soul, but the agreement cannot be easily broken. Naruto. Don't worry, Shinigami-sama. I'm at peace knowing my friends had a happy and peaceful life. The others nodded at Naruto's words. Naruto. So, what will happen now? Will I reunite with my friends and family? Hagoromo. That is an option, Naruto. But we thought we should thank you for everything you've done and also tell you that we need you to complete a mission. Naruto. And what mission is that, old man? Hagoromo. To a world that needs help saving humanity from giants that eat people. You are the only one who can complete this mission, Naruto. I trust you, Naruto. I accept, he said, smiling, making the others smile as well. Hagoromo. Well, before you go, Shinigami and I are going to give you some gifts, and you'll have a change in personality and appearance due to the Jubi being sealed inside you. Naruto, Kurama. And what will happen to Kurama? What will happen to me? Hagoromo. Well, Kurama will stay with you. Because when the Jubi was sealed inside you, and you had a connection with Kurama, he began to absorb the Jubi's energy and chakra, so Kurama will be the new Jubi. This surprised both Naruto and Kurama, who were at a loss for words and just stayed silent. Hagoromo. This will have some consequences as well. Because of the sealing, you've become a sort of god, a mythical being, since you won't age and will be immortal. Think carefully, because once it's done, there's no turning back. You'll stay in this world forever. Naruto, for a moment, thought about Hagoromo's words. He knew that if he were immortal, he would see people die around him while he stayed alive. For a moment, he looked at Kurama, who with a simple glance knew that whatever decision he made, they would be together. He looked at Hagoromo, filled with determination. Naruto. I accept. I know the theme of immortality will be difficult, but I can't let innocent people die knowing I can help. Shinigami. Alright, then, I will give you my gifts. The first gift is my dujutsu. Shinigami. You will be able to summon me at any time with this dujutsu, and you will also be able to rejuvenate anyone you wish, as long as there is a bond between you. Shinigami. The second and final gift, I will give you the katana that belonged to the first leader of the Uzumaki clan. Take it as a token, but incredibly sharp. This is not just any katana, but you will find out why when the right moment comes. Naruto. Thank you very much, Shinigami-sama. Hagoromo. Well, now it's my turn. I will preserve the power of Ashura, along with his healing ability and vast chakra reserves. I will also give you the abilities and knowledge of Indra. Now, you will have the Sharingan, Mangekyo Sharingan, and the Rinnegan. This will make you my reincarnation indirectly by possessing the powers of my two sons. You will master all the elements and sub-elements, along with the yin-yang element. I will also grant you all my knowledge of jutsu, taijutsu, and kenjutsu, but you will have to train in order to use this power efficiently. Lastly, I will give you two things that belong to you from your parents. The first are the scrolls of the Uzumaki clan. You will need to study them to become a master of kenjutsu, fuinjutsu, and to have better chakra control, since the Uzumaki have a lot of chakra. And in this other scroll, there is the technique that your father used in the Third Great War, which made him known as the Yellow Flash, the Hiraishin, along with some triple-pointed kunai with seals. You will just need to place your blood on them. Naruto. Thank you very much, Hagoromo Jiji. I'm really happy to learn my parents' techniques. Hagoromo. I know you will do what's right, Naruto. Good luck. You will have more information when you reach the new world, he said, looking at Kurama. Please, son, help him. He will need you to face the obstacles that lie ahead. Kurama. I promise, father. I won't fail you or Naruto. He's like a little brother to me. I'll take good care of him, he said, seeing a smile form on Hagoromo's face and tears in Naruto's eyes, who went to the fox to hug her. Hagoromo, with his Rinnegan, created a portal to send them to what would be their new adventure, full of action, romance, friendship, and new enemies to face. They both looked one last time at Hagoromo. Kurama entered Naruto's body, and he stepped through the portal to his new life. We were in a large, lush meadow occupied by different types of animals and abundant vegetation. On the horizon, a massive stone wall could be seen. It was enormous, about 50 meters high, but at that moment, the wall wasn't the most important thing. What mattered was a kind of portal that started to open in the middle of the meadow. When the portal opened, a human figure could be seen emerging from it. As the figure hit the ground, the portal disappeared without a trace. This human figure was Naruto, and the moment his body touched the ground, the information that the Rikudo Sennin would send about this world arrived in his mind. Naruto. Civilization within the walls, titans that eat people, three-dimensional gear, Recon Core. He felt a bit of a headache from the amount of information he received all at once. After this, I'm going to have a terrible migraine. Kurama. Look on the bright side. You didn't make any clones, because if you had and each clone had all that information, when you dispelled them, you'd probably be unconscious or dead. He said with a small smile. Naruto. Thank you very much, Kurama, for your support. Kurama. You're welcome, Gaki. That's why I'm here, he said with a big smile. Changing the subject, Naruto, I need you to enter your mental space. You need to see something. Naruto. What would that be? Kurama. Come here. Naruto didn't ask anything else and did as his companion requested. His eyes widened when he saw that his mental space was different. It was no longer a sewer with water on the floor. Now, it was a snowy plain that seemed to have no end. Naruto. Kurama, where are you? Kurama. Behind you, Gaki. Naruto turned around and was surprised. Behind him was a white wolf with 10 white tails, with a reddish tint at the tips. Naruto. Kurama? It was the only thing he said. Kurama. It's me. Naruto. Be you, but what happened to you? Kurama. Don't you remember what my father said? Naruto thought for a moment before giving up, shaking his head, causing the now wolf to sigh. Kurama. You're such an idiot, Naruto. When you sealed the Jubi inside you, its chakra kind of fused with mine, changing my appearance and turning me into the new Jubi. To say that the Uzumaki was impressed would be an understatement. After a brief moment, he regained his composure to ask. Naruto. Well, what should we do now? Kurama. The best option would be to train for a few years to improve your skills. Naruto. You're right. Then let's go somewhere else so we're not disturbed. Kurama nodded at the Uzumaki. Kurama. You should send some clones to gather information. Naruto. All right, Kurama. Well, it would be best to send them too. He stopped, feeling the presence of something very close. Watch out, Naruto. He yelled, causing the Uzumaki to leave the mental space. Naruto was disoriented. He didn't know what was happening, but didn't wait long to find out, as he had to use his reflexes to narrowly dodge a massive hand that tried to grab him. He looked up and saw a titan, at least 10 meters tall. Naruto grabbed his sword, which he received from the Shinigami, and began making several cuts on the titan's body. However, he noticed that no matter how many times he cut or where he cut, the titan remained alive. He decided to ask Kurama if she had any ideas while dodging the titan. Naruto. Hey, Kurama, how'd I kill this thing? He said while continuing to dodge. Kurama. According to the information my father gave us, their weak spot is the nape. You need to make a straight and deep cut. Naruto. Understood. The titan kept attacking the Uzumaki. He took advantage of an opening which allowed him to jump to the titan's nape, propelled by chakra, and make a straight, deep cut. Naruto landed on the ground gracefully, and the titan fell lifeless to the ground. The titan fell dead, and Naruto stared at the giant for a while. The body began to disappear. Kurama. Naruto, we better get out of here. He was probably not the only one. Naruto. Sounds like a good idea. Where should we go? Kurama. Can you see those mountains? Naruto. Yes. Kurama. We should head there. It's a high position. I don't think there are any of these creatures there, and we'll be able to see anything happening inside or outside the walls. Naruto headed towards the mountain mentioned by Kurama to train for several years to master his abilities. The journey was smooth, but he had to hide from some titans behind trees and bushes to avoid drawing attention. After a few hours of climbing, he finally reached his destination. Naruto. What do we do now, Kurama? Kurama. First, you need to build a house using Mokuton. Naruto. And how do you expect me to do that, you stupid wolf? I don't know any Mokuton jutsu. Kurama. More respect, you brat. Well, I know. Do you remember the jutsu your sensei, that guy Yamato, used? Naruto. Yeah, the one he used to make that huge house? Kurama. Yes. Naruto. I remember the name of the technique, but not the hand seals. Kurama. Alright, I'll tell you the hand seals. After a few minutes of practicing the hand seals. Naruto. Mokuton. Shikuka no jutsu, he said, placing his hands on the ground. Pillars of wood began to rise from the ground, forming a large Japanese-style house with the leaf symbol. Naruto fell to his knees, exhausted from using Mokuton for the first time, with no control over Suiden and Doten. Kurama. Well, Naruto, rest for today. Tomorrow we'll start training so you can be at 100%. He said with a sadistic smile. Naruto. And what would that training be, Kurama? This made the big wolf smile even more. Kurama. Oh, you'll wish you hadn't asked that. Since I don't want this story to be too long, I'll summarize each year of the 10 years he spent training. First and second years. During the first 2 years, Kurama improved Naruto's physical condition using gravity seals and a varied diet. He also worked on chakra control and, lastly, trained the Uzumaki clan's taijutsu. Third and fourth years. After improving physical conditioning and chakra control, Naruto spent these 2 years training to control the 5 main chakra natures, Suiden, Raiden, Futon, Doten, and Kaden, so he could perform jutsus without hand seals and have good mastery. Fifth year. After mastering the main elements, he decided to master some sub-elements that could be useful in the future. Futon, Yoton, Ranton, Shoten, Hyaton, and finally, Mokuton. Sixth year. In this year, he focused on perfectly controlling the Sharingan and the Mangekyo Sharingan, thus mastering the Susanoo, Tsukuyomi, Amaterasu, and Kamui. This is Naruto's Mangekyo. Seventh year. In the 7th year, he trained to control the Rinnegan and the paths that would be most useful for the future. He learned the Diva path, Animal path, Naraka path, and Outer path. On the other hand, he didn't learn the Human and Asura paths, as he didn't consider them necessary. 8th and 9th years. In the following 2 years, he focused on becoming a master of Fuinjutsu at level 15, thanks to his Uzumaki blood. Additionally, he trained to become a master of Kenjutsu, and lastly, trained to become an expert in archery. 10th year. In the final year of training, he dedicated himself to learning how to use the dojutsu granted by the Sharingan and mastered his father's Hiraishin. Once he mastered the Hiraishin, he placed marks near the walls to teleport in case of an emergency. It is also worth mentioning that during the last 3 years of training, he faced titans of various sizes to gain experience and practice his skills. Returning to our protagonist, he was lying on the green grass with his eyes closed. It was evident that the hard training had paid off. He had grown a bit, his body was leaner and stronger, with defined muscles due to the training. He wore a mesh shirt, a black hoodie with red lines on the sleeves, black Anbu pants, and black shinobi sandals. He had white bandages around his ankles and black fingerless gloves. If someone got close to him, they would think he was sleeping, but in reality, he was talking to his tenant. Naruto. You know, Kurama, aside from the Titans, this world is much more beautiful than the elemental nations. Kurama. Well, partly yes, partly no, he said, stretching. Yes, because there's more vegetation and humans don't kill each other, but it's bad because, as you already know, there are many dead, the powerful hide in the center of the walls, there's high corruption, and those religious sects, he said with a small laugh. Naruto. You're right about that, he said, sighing. Kurama. Hey, brat, he said, seeing Naruto nod. Kurama. What are you thinking of doing now? I mean, your training is over. What are you going to do now? Naruto. I was thinking of joining the Reconnaissance Legion. Kurama. Why the Scout Regiment? I mean, there's also the military police. He said, taking a brief pause. Kurama. And also the Garrison Regiment. Naruto. In my view, the military police shouldn't serve the king and stay within the walls while others give their lives, he said, watching how the wolf agreed. The stationary guard is responsible for maintaining order and peace. That's fine, but I want to go outside the walls and face the Titans to save lives, he said, seeing the wolf agree again. So, the only option for me is the Scout Regiment, which fights for the glory of humanity. That's what I want, he said, seeing the wolf smile at his companion's determination. Kurama. So, shall we play soldiers? He said, with a contagious laugh. Naruto. Yes, let's be soldiers, he said, lying down on the floor of his mental space. Some time passed, and the two lay there without saying anything. It was such a peaceful silence until they felt a monstrous presence, making both of them widen their eyes and stand up. Naruto. Did you feel that, Kurama? Kurama. Yes, I felt it. This isn't normal. It's coming from the walls. I have a bad feeling about this. Naruto got up and, without saying anything more, teleported with his Hiraishin to a high zone where he could see what was happening. When they arrived, both were shocked. There was a titan at least 60 meters tall. Naruto was stunned by the titan's height until he snapped out of his shock when he heard a loud roar. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. This titan had just struck the wall, opening a large hole and leaving the Shiganshina district exposed. Several titans of various sizes began to enter through the hole. Naruto. Kurama, did you put me under a genjutsu? He said, still unable to believe the scene. Kurama. No, Naruto. This is real. You need to go help people, or there will be many deaths. Naruto. I think it's time to play soldier, he said, while putting on a Kakashi-style mask and hood. Kurama. Show them what you're made of. Minutes before the attack of the colossal titan, we see 3 children inside the walls. 2 boys and 1 girl. One of the boys had blonde hair and blue eyes, wearing brown pants, a white shirt, and a bluish jacket. The girl had long black hair, gray eyes, wore a red dress, a white shirt over the dress, a red jacket, and a red scarf. The last boy had black hair, green eyes, and wore black pants, a green shirt, and a dark brown jacket. Obviously, you already know who they are. Damn it, I just wanted to leave the walls. Why do people settle for living like this? It's normal, Eren, for people to accept living inside the walls. It's been over 100 years since anyone has seen a titan. Besides, the government doesn't want anyone talking about the outside. Eren. I know, Armin, but I'm the one risking my life. They have no right to force me to live here. The girl, who had been silent during the conversation, decided to intervene. You can't do this, Eren. Eren. Why not? And why did you tell our parents that I wanted to join the Scout Regiment, Mikasa? Mikasa. I never said I would support you. Armin. You told them. How did they react? Eren. Not well. The worst part was my mom. She almost had a heart attack and forbade me from going. Armin. Wow. There was a brief silence, where only the sound of the wind rustling the leaves could be heard. Eren. People don't understand that these walls won't protect us forever. Armin. You're right about that, Eren. Even though the walls have protected us for the last 100 years, there's no guarantee they can keep doing so much longer. At that moment, the wind carrying the leaves stopped. No one in Shiganshina district could feel the breeze anymore. A few seconds later, lightning struck outside the walls, causing a massive roar and a shockwave that made all of Shiganshina tremble. Eren. What was that? Armin. Was that an explosion? Citizen 1. Something fell outside the walls. Citizen 2. Let's go see. A group of citizens rushed to a large plaza to see what had appeared beyond the walls, followed by Armin, Eren, and Mikasa. When they reached the plaza, Eren and Mikasa saw Armin frozen, staring at the top of the wall. Eren. Armin, what is it? Without receiving an answer, Eren looked up at the top of the wall and froze just like Armin. Beyond the wall, a massive curtain of smoke could be seen, and next to it was what looked like a giant hand gripping the surface of the wall. Eren was paralyzed. The walls were about 50 meters high. Only one kind of creature could possibly reach those walls, the Titans. As the smoke cleared, the face of a colossal Titan appeared. No one moved, too shocked by the scene before them. The Titan kicked the wall, creating a massive hole and a wave of wind so strong that it hurled people through the air, destroying houses and crushing people. The panic spread quickly, with people screaming in fear or crying as they saw the debris and the crushed bodies. Back to our trio, they were getting up from the ground. Eren saw that Armin and Mikasa were fine, but he noticed that a piece of the wall had fallen in the area where he lived. Eren. Oh no, Mom. He shouted, running toward his house. Mikasa. Eren. Armin. Mikasa, go with Eren. I'll go look for my grandpa. We'll meet at the boats. Mikasa nodded and ran in the direction Eren had gone. Meanwhile, with our blonde protagonist, he had just arrived at the walls and was shocked by the damage caused by the colossal titan. Naruto. This is worse than I imagined, he thought, looking at the huge hole created by the titan and seeing more titans approaching. Damn it, any ideas, Kurama? Kurama. Sealing the hole isn't an option, and there are too many titans inside. You need to save as many people as you can and get out of here. Naruto. Got it, he said, forming a cross-shaped hand seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. He shouted, creating 10 clones that spread across the district. The original moved swiftly and precisely, killing as many titans as he could, leaving the soldiers stunned. Soldier 1. What the hell is going on? Soldier 2. Who is that? Soldier 3. No idea, but he's taking down titans. Soldier 2. Captain, what do we do? Soldier 1. Let's help finish the evacuation while he distracts the titans. Soldiers 2 and 3. Yes, sir. Soldier 1. I need to report this to the general. He's killing titans like they're nothing, and he's doing it all by himself. He thought. As Naruto continued, he jumped from rooftop to rooftop, distracted by the destruction, chaos, and death around him. It reminded him a lot of the war, but he stopped thinking about it when he heard a boy's scream. He looked in the direction of the sound and saw a boy and a girl trying to help a woman trapped under the rubble of a house. Next to them, a soldier stood frozen as a 12-meter titan approached. Eren. I won't leave you, Mom. Hannes, please, take the children. The soldier, now named Hannes, saw the titan closing in. He grabbed Eren and Mikasa and ran. Eren. No, let me go. I won't leave her, he screamed, struggling to break free. Eren, take care of Mikasa. I love you both, she shouted, tears streaming down her face. Eren. Mom. He shouted, still struggling to free himself. Naruto watched as the soldier carried the 2 children away while the titan approached the boy's mother, who was still trapped under the rubble. The titan extended its hand to grab the woman, ready to devour her in front of Eren, Mikasa, Hannes, and Naruto. Naruto couldn't allow this to happen. He leapt to the titan's nape, propelled by chakra, at high speed, making a deep cut and killing the titan while holding the woman before she hit the ground, leaving 3 people staring, surprised with wide eyes. The woman, initially with her eyes closed, opened them, not understanding what had just happened. Naruto stopped her from moving, noticing her legs were severely injured, and began healing them to prevent infections. Naruto. You were saved. I killed the titan that was about to attack you, he said while healing the woman's wounds. The woman was thoughtful for a moment, but interrupted her thoughts when she heard the screams of 2 children. Eren, Mikasa. Mom, Mrs. Jaeger. They shouted, running toward the woman to hug her. Hannes approached slowly, impressed by what he had just witnessed. It wasn't just the fact that Naruto killed a titan, but how he did it without a ODM and so easily. As he got closer to the woman, he saw she was already standing with the help of the children and Naruto. Naruto. The pain will pass soon, but it's better if you don't walk, he said, watching the woman nod. The soldier approached and looked at him. Hannes. Who are you? And how did you kill a titan without a ODM? Naruto. There's no time for questions. We need to get this woman and the children out of here and take them to the boat. Hannes. How do we do that? Naruto. The woman can't walk. You will carry her to the boat, with the children by your side, and I'll clear the way if any titans show up. Got it, Hannes? Got it, Naruto. Let's go. Hannes nodded and followed Naruto's plan. As they ran through the alleys, they finally reached the gates of Wall Maria to get to the boats. Naruto. This is where we split. I have to save more people. Hannes. Going back there is suicide. Shinganshina is lost. The only thing you'll find is death. Naruto. Maybe that's true, but I can't abandon anyone. This is my path, he said, heading back to the district. The 4 of them watched him until they lost sight of him. They headed to the boats, where Armin and his grandfather were. Once aboard, Armin spoke to Mikasa while Eren's mother talked to Armin's grandfather, while Eren couldn't stop thinking about the stranger. Eren. Who was that person who helped us? He thought, Mrs. Jaeger. Eren? How could he kill titans so easily, without any equipment? He thought, Mikasa. Eren. Thanks to him, my mom is alive. But what if he hadn't shown up? I couldn't do anything. I'll never run away from any titan again. I'll kill them all. Mrs. Jaeger, Mikasa. Eren. What happened? I'm not deaf. Mikasa. Your mom was calling you, but you didn't respond. Mrs. Jaeger. Are you okay, son? Eren. Yeah, Mom, it's just that. He sighed. What if that guy hadn't helped you? I couldn't do anything to save you. He said, clenching his fists. Mrs. Jaeger. Don't think about that, Eren. I'm alive, aren't I? That's what matters. You shouldn't regret things that are beyond your control. Eren. But, Armin. Wait, what guy? Eren. A guy saved my mom. He killed the titan that was going to devour her without using an ODM. Armin. Incredible. Is that even possible? Eren. Yeah, and he even escorted Mikasa, my mom, the drunk old man, and me here, killing the titans that came near. Armin. And where is he? When we saw you, you four were alone. Eren. He went back to save more people. Armin. But that's suicide. Eren. That's what the old man said, but still, he went back to help more people. Armin. He must be an incredible person, the way you're talking about him, to go back and survive. Eren. He is, Armin. But changing the subject. Where are we going now? Armin. To Trust District. That will be our new home. Eren was about to say more but fell silent when he heard a loud crash coming from Wall Maria. A titan with an armored appearance had just breached it, creating a large hole. 5 minutes earlier, Naruto had just parted from the group he had escorted to the boats to find more survivors. Naruto. Kurama, I'm sensing someone's presence. Kurama. You'd better get out of there, Naruto. Shinganshina is lost. Naruto. I agree. Naruto was heading toward the entrance of Wall Maria when another lightning strike hit the district, creating a large column of smoke that alarmed him. As the smoke cleared, he spotted another titan, but this one was different. It had no skin like the others and was bigger than usual. Naruto. Kurama, what should I do? Kurama. Whatever it is, be careful. This titan is like the colossal one. I feel the same presence in it. Naruto. What kind of presence? Kurama. A strange presence, Naruto. I sense a human presence inside it. It probably isn't that, but be cautious. Naruto. I will. Naruto was getting closer, jumping across rooftops, but the titan started running toward the Wall Maria gate, where the garrison soldiers were stationed with cannons to repel the titans. Naruto. Shit, he's too fast. Naruto started running after the armored titan across the rooftops. When he got close enough, he jumped toward the titan's neck to make a cut, but to his surprise, the sword broke upon contact with the titan. Naruto. What the hell just happened? It didn't even leave a scratch. He said, watching as the titan continued running towards the guards. The soldiers opened fire on the titan. The cannonballs hit him, but they didn't stop him. He kept running, increasing his speed even further. Naruto. If they don't get out of there, they'll die. He said, seeing the guards continue to fire. Time was running out. Naruto saw the titan crash into the wall with great force, killing members of the garrison. To his surprise, the titan broke through the wall. Naruto. He broke through the wall. He shouted in disbelief. Naruto. Kurama, did you see that? He thought. Kurama. Yes, I saw it. We need to investigate these two titans. They're not like the others. Naruto. I think it's time we get out of here. I have nothing else to do. He thought while running toward the forest. Kurama. And now, where are you going? Naruto. The Maria wall fell. Now, I'm heading to Trust, and after a few years, I'll join the Survey Corps. Kurama. Sounds like a good idea. During these years, you can practice with those cable gear to prepare. Naruto. Cable gear? Kurama. Yes, those things they use to kill the titans. Naruto. Ah, the ODM gear. He said, laughing. Kurama. Stop laughing, brat. Naruto. Sorry. He said, stopping laughing and heading towards Trust. 2 years have passed since the loss of the Shinganshina district and the fall of Wall Maria at the hands of the armored and colossal titans. Due to the loss of the wall, a large part of the land used for farming was also lost, causing people to take refuge inside Wall Rose. This led to hunger and some conflicts. The government, upon realizing the situation, decided that the best course of action was to undertake a mission to try to recover Wall Maria. About 250,000 soldiers and civilians were recruited to carry out this mission. Armin's grandfather was one of the many people forced to participate in the mission, which ended up being an absolute failure. There were many Titans inside the wall, and more kept coming. The human casualties increased in a horrific manner. It wasn't a battle of equals, but a fight for survival. After a few days, only 100 soldiers returned to Wall Rose, and 25% of the population was wiped out in the mission. All those who did not return were considered dead or missing. Sadly, Armin's grandfather was one of them. This affected him deeply, but thanks to the support of Eren, Mikasa, and Eren's mother, he managed to overcome it. After the mission, the survivors had to work in the fields to help ease the hunger. Many knew why the government had ordered this mission. The food shortage was increasing, as were the confrontations. Therefore, the mission was more about reducing the population to prevent this from happening. Continuing with Eren, he was still determined to join the Survey Corps. Of course, Armin and Mikasa would accompany him for different reasons. However, his mother still didn't allow it. She eventually gave in after much arguing with her stubborn son. Flashback. We find ourselves in Trost, more specifically on the roof of the house where Eren, Mikasa, Armin, and Eren's mother live. On the roof, Eren and Armin were talking. Armin. What are we going to do now, Eren? Eren. I'm going to join the Survey Corps to take back our land. Armin. If you're going, I'm going too. Leaving the walls and seeing the sea, that's my dream. Eren. Let's see it together, Armin, I promise. Armin. Changing the subject. When are you going to tell your mom? Eren. I still don't know, even though I know what her answer will be. They didn't realize that Mikasa and Eren's mother were climbing the stairs to the roof and overheard what Armin had asked Eren. Mrs. Jaeger. Tell me what? Eren, Armin. Mom, Mrs. Jaeger. Mrs. Jaeger. You didn't answer my question. Armin. Well, Eren. It's nothing, Mom. Isn't that right, Armin? Armin. Yes, Mrs. Jaeger, it's nothing. Mrs. Jaeger. Do you know what they're hiding, Mikasa? Mikasa. Eren wants to join the Survey Corps, and Armin wants to join with him. Eren. Traitor. Armin. We're dead, he thought. Mrs. Jaeger. No, the Survey Corps is too dangerous. Do you want to die or something? Eren. But, Mom. Mrs. Jaeger. No buts, Eren. You are not joining the Corps. Eren. And what do you want me to do? Do you want me to work while others fight outside the walls? Mrs. Jaeger. Eren Jaeger, I'm your mother, and you're going to obey me. Eren. I'm joining the Survey Corps, no matter what you say. I'm going to reclaim Wall Maria so we can go back home. He shouted. Mikasa, Armin, Eren. They shouted, about to run after Eren but were stopped by his mother. Mrs. Jaeger. Wait, I have to say something to you. She said, taking a deep breath. I know Eren won't stop until he joins the Survey Corps. I'm his mother, and I know how stubborn he is. So, I want you to never separate and protect each other, okay? Armin and Mikasa just nodded before running after Eren. End of flashback. Back in the present, we find ourselves in the training grounds where Eren, Mikasa, Armin, and dozens of recruits were. They were all in military position, standing in straight lines, looking forward. In front of them was a man in his 40s or 50s, bald, with an intimidating gaze. Next to him were several soldiers from the garrison. Shadis. Attention, brats. I am Keith Shadis and I will be your instructor for the next 3 years of your insignificant lives. From now on, you are the 104th Recruit Legion. Many have died at the hands of the Titans, few have survived. If anyone here wants to leave, leave now. A great silence took over the recruitment field, along with some expressions of confusion, fear, and determination on some faces. This made Shadis give a sadistic smile to the recruits. He began the initiation ritual, or rather, shouting and insulting to intimidate them. Shadis. You. What's your name, recruit? Armin. I'm Armin Arlet, sir. Originating from Shinganshina, sir. Shadis. Good name for a mental retard. Did your parents give you that name? Armin. It was my grandpa, sir. Shadis. Why are you here, Arlet? Armin. To contribute to humanity's victory, sir. Shadis. Good answer, recruit. I bet you'll kill many titans. He continued moving from recruit to recruit, stopping at some that showed determination on their faces. The instructor had already passed by Thomas, Marco, Jean, Carolina, and continued through the other recruits. Shaddus. And who the hell are you? Connie. Connie Springer, sir. Originating from Ragako, sir. Suddenly, the recruit was lifted by the head by the instructor's hands. Shaddus. You got the gesture wrong, you piece of trash. Are you an idiot, or what? Connie. Sir, no sir. Shaddus. Then why are you making the wrong bow, you piece of trash? Connie. I made a mistake, sir. Shaddus. You made a mistake? Is the bow that complicated, you damn fool? With the bow, we surrender our heart to the cause. Since when is the heart on the right side, idiot? Connie. Never, sir. Shaddus. When you're present, I won't call you by your name, I'll just call you idiot. Is that clear? Connie. Sir, yes sir. Shaddus. I didn't hear you, idiot. Connie. Sir, yes sir. Shaddus kept walking until he saw a recruit eating what seemed to be a potato. Shaddus. What the hell are you doing, brat? He approached the recruit, who didn't notice and kept eating. Shaddus. I'm talking to you, scum. Who the hell do you think you are? Sasha. Sasha Browse, sir. From DAUPER, sir. Shaddus. Sasha Browse. What do you have in your hand, recruit? Sasha. A boiled potato, sir. Shaddus. And where did you get that potato, recruit? Sasha. I saw they were cooking, and I noticed some were freshly made. They looked so good that I took one? Shaddus. I still don't understand why you're holding that potato, recruit. The atmosphere couldn't have been more tense. The recruits near the girl stepped back a few meters. On the other hand, the girl wasn't in a better position, as the instructor was glaring at her with eyes full of fury. But, to her relief, our blonde-haired protagonist arrived. Naruto. Is this the recruitment camp? He said sarcastically. The instructor, along with the recruits, turned toward the voice and saw a young man with spiky yellow hair, blue eyes, and a fit physique, making all the girls present blush. Shaddus. Yes, and here. He said while looking the young man up and down. He's definitely one of my recruits. He thought, what time do you call this, recruit? Naruto. I ran into a black cat and had to take the long way around, sir. This made everyone present break into a cold sweat at the blonde's excuse. It was clear to see the vein on Shaddus's forehead starting to bulge. Shaddus. Are you joking with me, kid? What's your name? Naruto. You know, it's rude to ask someone's name without introducing yourself first. The recruits were now wide-eyed and trembling before the instructor's fury. Shaddus. If you had arrived on time, you'd know, you damn idiot. My name is Keith Shaddus, and I'll be your instructor and the instructor of the other recruits for the next 3 years, you brat. Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, sir. And stop yelling, I'm not deaf. The recruits watched the two staring at each other until Shaddus cracked a smile. Shaddus. I like you, kid. You're more interesting than these idiots. But let me tell you something. He said, leaning closer. Pull another stunt like that, and you'll pay dearly. Am I clear? Now fall in line with the others. Naruto. Sir, yes, sir. Naruto passed by Shaddus to join the line but whispered something only Shaddus could hear. It's funny, isn't it? Threatening someone who gave up because they thought they weren't special. He whispered as he joined the line. The instructor Shaddus froze. This boy knew something no one else did, something he had never told anyone. It made him wonder, who is Naruto Uzumaki, as he continued to watch him. The shift in his demeanor was noticed by 3 people, Rainer Braun, Berthold Hoover, and Annie Lenhart, who exchanged glances, silently agreeing they were all thinking the same thing. At that moment, the field was silent. Both recruits and soldiers watched as Shaddus remained still. All eyes were on the blonde recruit. Soldier. Instructor Shaddus, are you alright? Shaddus snapped out of his daze at the soldier's voice and realized everyone was staring at him. Shaddus. Take the recruits back to the cabin. Tomorrow, we'll start training. He said, walking toward another cabin. Soldiers. You heard him, everyone back to the cabins. Recruits. Yes. At a slow pace, the recruits made their way to the cabins. Many walked, laughing and chatting casually. Others were curious about the blonde recruit. Rainer. Did you see that kid? He wasn't scared, even with the instructor yelling right in his face. Berthold. Rainer's right. That kid could be trouble. Annie. Quiet, both of you. We'll keep an eye on him during the tests. If he really is a problem, we'll deal with him. Understood? Reiner, Berthold. Understood. What they didn't know was that the blonde had slipped away unnoticed and channeled chakra to his ears to eavesdrop on their conversation, as he had noticed their stares. Naruto. Did you think the same as me, Kurama? Kurama. Yes, Naruto. Make them think you haven't noticed and investigate what they're plotting. Naruto. Got it. Hours after the instructor's presentation to the recruits. At that moment, most of the recruits were dining in the mess hall, except for our blonde-haired recruit, who had been called by Shadis. Flashback. Naruto was walking toward the instructor's cabin, having been summoned. As he walked, he thought about what he would do with that suspicious trio. Knock, knock, knock. After knocking on the door and receiving no response, he was about to knock again but heard the instructor's voice granting him permission to enter. Shadis. Enter. When Naruto entered, he quickly glanced around the entire office. It wasn't much, a rectangular room with a desk in the middle and chairs to sit on. On the sides, there were windows with curtains. After analyzing the office, he looked at the instructor, who was standing with his back turned, gazing out the window. Naruto. You called for me, sir? Shadis. Yes, and I think we both know why we're having this conversation. Naruto. I have an idea. Shadis. I'll get straight to the point, Uzumaki. Who are you? Naruto. I don't understand the question, sir. Shadis. No birth records, no known relatives, no documentation proving you lived in Shiganshina, nothing. Absolutely no information about you. To the world, you were a ghost, and now you're a recruit. So, I'll ask again. Who are you, Uzumaki? Naruto. That must be a mistake, sir. I was born in the Shiganshin. Shadis slammed his fist on the desk with force. Shadis. Don't make me repeat myself, Uzumaki. Naruto. What do I do now, Kurama? Kurama. I don't know. Improvise. Naruto. But you know I'm terrible at lying. Kurama. Do what you think is right. I'm not going to solve all your problems for you. Naruto sighed, knowing the wolf had a point. Returning to the moment, Shadis's gaze remained fixed on the blonde. Naruto. You definitely wouldn't believe me. Shadis continued silently staring at the blonde. Naruto. The truth is, I'm not from Shiganshina. I never lived there. I lived alone in a small house outside the walls. I would go out at night because it was harder for titans to detect me and hide during the day. I witnessed the fall of Shiganshina and Wall Maria firsthand, and I decided to enlist when I came of age. He told the whole truth, only withholding a few small details about his training and abilities from Shadis. Shadis remained silent for a moment. Naruto could see the surprised expression on his face. Shadis. You know that's hard to believe, don't you? Naruto. Yes, I know. Shadis sighed. Shadis. I believe you. I don't see lies when I look into your eyes, but I feel you're not telling me everything. For now, though, this information will suffice. Now, join the others in the mess hall. Tomorrow will be a tough day. Naruto. Yes, sir. Naruto left the office, heading to the mess hall. He was satisfied. Naruto. Good thing Shadis didn't ask for more details. End of flashback. Meanwhile, in the mess hall, most of the recruits surrounded Eren, who was eating. Connie. Did you actually see the Titans, Eren? Eren. Yes, I managed to see them from about 10 meters away. Carolina. And what about the colossal Titan? Was it really that big? Eren. I didn't see it entirely, but its head went over the wall. So, I guess it must be around 60 meters tall. Sasha. What about the armored Titan? Eren. I saw that one too. Both the armored and the colossal are special Titans. But, just like the others, they will die. I won't rest until I make it happen. Naruto had arrived during the conversation and remained standing near the door. Naruto. This kid knows what he wants, but he's going to need more than that to succeed. Kurama. Well, you used to yell about becoming Hokage all the time while wearing that ridiculous orange outfit. Naruto. You're right. I hope he makes it or at least doesn't end up dead. Kurama. Only time will tell. Back to the recruits. Jean. You're an idiot. You're playing the hero now, but I'm sure you'd soil yourself if a Titan were right in front of you. He said, trying to draw attention. Eren. Gene Kirstein, right? You want to join the military police to stay safe inside the walls. To me, you're just a big coward. He said, standing up. Gene. And so what if I am, Jaeger? At least I'll survive and won't be out there looking for death. He said, standing up as well. Eren. Cowards like you are everywhere in this world. He said, staring Gene down. Krista. Calm down, boys. You're comrades now. You shouldn't be fighting. Ymir. Let them have their fun, Shorty. Krista. But, Ymir. Ymir. No buts, Krista. Let them settle this their way. Gene. I'd rather be a coward than be eaten by a titan. Your ideals are suicidal. So do yourself a favor and leave before it's too late. Eren. I'll never run from a titan. I'll kill them all and prove you wrong, horseface. Gene. What did you call me, you idiot? Mikasa and Armin were about to stop Eren before he got hurt. On the other hand, Thomas and Marco were ready to do the same with Gene but paused when they heard a door open. Everyone turned to look at the person who entered. It was the same blonde who had faced the instructor and walked away unscathed. They watched as he leaned against the wall, looking at Eren and Gene, then pointed to the door. Naruto. If you're going to fight, do it outside. You're bothering everyone and putting on a show here. So either go outside or shut up. He said firmly, making them stop. Naruto saw the two separate. After they sat down, the blonde observed the recruits one by one. Some recognized him from the field, while others had no idea who he was. Naruto sighed, grabbed his dinner, and sat at an empty table to eat. Not even 2 minutes had passed before he had to stop eating, feeling the recruits' stares. He looked up to see everyone watching him. Naruto. Why are you all staring at me? Thomas. Sorry, but it's not every day that a recruit stands up to an instructor and comes out unscathed. He said, prompting nods from the others. Naruto. Really? It's not a big deal. He said casually. Marco. I don't know if you're very brave or just an idiot. Naruto. Well, like I said, it wasn't a big deal. But changing the subject, since we'll be comrades, we should introduce ourselves. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. And you are? He said with a smile, making the girls blush, including Mikasa and Annie. Connie. Nice to meet you, Naruto. My name is Connie Springer, and I want you to know that you're my hero. Naruto. Nice to meet you, Connie. He said, shaking his hand. Krista. Nice to meet you, Naruto. My name is Krista, Krista Lenz. She said, still blushing. Naruto. The pleasure is mine, Krista-chan. He said, making her blush even more as he kissed her hand. Sasha. My name is Sasha, Sasha Browse. Thank you for saving me from the instructor. I thought I was going to die. She said, trembling as she recalled the instructor's glare. Naruto. No problem, Sasha-chan. It's a pleasure to meet you too. He said, kissing her hand, causing her to blush so much that she forgot the bread she was eating. Ymir. Nice to meet you, blonde. My name's Ymir. I liked how you handled the instructor. You've got guts, and I like that. She said, hugging the blonde, which made the others furious, including Mikasa and Annie, though they didn't know why. Naruto. Nice to meet you, Ymir-chan. Carolina. My name is Carolina, Mina Carolina. Nice to meet you, Naruto. The pleasure is mine, Carolina-chan. He said, kissing her hand. Carolina. Era, you're bold, Naruto-kun. She said, feeling the death stares from the other girls. Marco. Nice to meet you, Naruto. My name is Marco Bot, and this is Thomas Wagner. Thomas. Nice to meet you, Naruto. Naruto. Nice to meet you guys. I hope we get along. He said, shaking hands with both. Armin. Nice to meet you, Naruto. My name is Armin, Armin Arlet. I hope we get along. He said, shaking the blonde's hand. Naruto. Same here, Armin. Eren. Sorry for the noise, Naruto. My name is Eren, Eren Jaeger. Naruto. It's okay, Eren. You fought for what you believe in, and that's respectable. He said, shaking Eren's hand. Gene. Tisk. My name is Gene, Gene Kirstein, and I didn't like you much. You're a suicidal maniac like Jaeger. Naruto. Well, Gene, I don't care about your opinion, so I couldn't care less. Gene. Damn Uzumaki. He said, sitting down and going back to eating. Naruto had already greeted most people, but he noticed someone was missing. He was slightly stunned by what he saw. It was a very beautiful girl with long black hair, gray eyes, and pale skin. Naruto. Well, what's your name? He said, blushing. Mikasa. Mikasa Ackerman. Nice to meet you, Naruto. She said, trying to hide her blushing face with her scarf. Naruto. The pleasure is all mine, Mika-chan. He said, making her blush even more. Both the male and female recruits had the same thought. Boys. Uzumaki, you're a bastard. Girls. Don't even think about it, Mikasa. That blonde is ours. After introducing themselves, Marco asked Eren something. Marco. Eren, which corps are you going to join? He asked, catching everyone's attention. Eren. I'm going to join the scout regiment. I want to kill the Titans and see what's beyond these walls. Thomas. Are you crazy? Do you know how many soldiers died on the last mission because of the Titans? Jean. Correction, Thomas, suicidal maniac. Naruto, who had been quiet, decided to join the conversation. Naruto. So we'll be comrades, Eren. I'm also joining the scout regiment. He said, to Eren's joy, followed by Armin and Mikasa. Thomas. You're insane. You're going to die. Jean. Let them be, Thomas. They're two suicidal idiots. Krista. That's true, guys. Very few came back alive from missions beyond the walls. Naruto. Well, that's true. We could die, but I think I can speak for Eren when I say we want to kill the Titans and not stay within the walls. I know, for example, Thomas, you want to join the military police to serve the king. That's respectable, but I know I can do more than that. You know, no sacrifice, no victory. And lastly, you, Jean. The only thing you want is to hide behind the Sina wall to stay safe, so you don't have the right to give your opinion. He said, letting out a sigh. I'm going for a walk. Have a good night, everyone. Eren. Wait, Naruto. Can we go with you? He said, followed by Armin and Mikasa. Naruto. Sure, no problem. The four were walking across the training field. Eren. Naruto, where are you from? Naruto. From Shiganshina, he said, surprising the three. Eren. Seriously? We're from there too. How have we never met? Naruto. Well, I lived alone in the poorest area. Armin. Alone? What about your parents, Naruto? Naruto. They died when I was born. Armin. I'm sorry. Naruto. Don't worry, Armin. I know they loved me very much. Who do you live with? Armin. I lived with my grandfather, but he had to go on the mission to reclaim Wall Maria and never came back. Naruto. I understand. I'm sorry about your grandfather, but you're lucky to have two people who are always there for you. Armin. You're right about that. We're always together, aren't we, guys? Eren and Mikasa. Yes. Naruto. And you, Eren? How's your family? Eren. Well, Naruto, thanks to a hooded figure, my mom didn't die in the Shiganshina attack. Naruto. A hooded figure? Eren. Yes. He was amazing. He killed Titans without using a DMT, it was spectacular. Isn't that right, Mikasa? Mikasa. Yes. I wish we could see him again. We never got the chance to thank him for everything he did. Eren. You're right. I hope to see him again. Naruto. Sighs. Eren. By the way, Mikasa, physical conditioning starts tomorrow. I think you should cut your hair so it doesn't bother you. Mikasa. Do you think so? Naruto. I think you shouldn't. Your black hair makes your beauty stand out even more. He said, making Mikasa blush and surprising Eren and Armin. Armin. Mikasa, are you blushing? Mikasa. And no. She said, hiding her face with the scarf. Eren took the opportunity to tease her a little. Eren. I hope you invite us to the wedding. Armin. Yes. Eren. It's decided. From now on, you're my brother-in-law, Naruto. I hope you take good care of Mikasa. You hit the jackpot with her, Mika. Mikasa. Shut up, Eren. Naruto. Come on, dear, it wasn't a big deal. Don't worry, Eren. I'll protect her with my life. He said, making Mikasa blush even more and causing Armin and Eren to smile. Eren. See, Mikasa? You hit the jackpot. Don't you think so, Armin? Armin. Yes. Mikasa. Shut up, you idiots. Naruto. Well, we better go to sleep. Tomorrow's going to be a tough day. He said, suggesting they head back to the cabins. As they walked back, Mikasa and Naruto chatted excitedly while Armin and Eren smiled. When they arrived at the cabins, they separated. Mikasa went to the women's cabin, and the others went to the men's cabin. What the blonde didn't know was that Jean had seen how he was walking with Mikasa and felt jealous, cursing the certain yellow-haired Uzumaki and saying that this wasn't over yet. The next morning, we met at the boys' cabin where they were still sleeping. Outside the cabin, it was still practically night, even though there were signs that dawn was approaching. The recruits would have continued sleeping if it weren't for the loud knock on the door by Shadis as he entered. "Shadis. Wake up, you broads. I want everyone in the mess hall in 5 minutes," he said before leaving the cabin. Many of the recruits, like Thomas and Marco, were startled by this. Others, like Reiner, got up to get ready, while others, like Connie. Well, it was Connie. He ended up falling out of bed, scared by the loud sound of the door and Shadis yelling. "Connie. Ouch," he complained, rubbing his head. "Naruto. That's a good way to wake up, huh, Connie?" he said, laughing with the other recruits. "Connie. That wasn't funny, Naruto." "Naruto. Oh, yes, it was," he said, still laughing. "But well, we better get going or Shadis will get mad." "Armin. I thought the same," he said, trembling a bit just by imagining it. Naruto, along with most of the recruits, left the cabin, some more awake than others. After a few minutes, they were already seated in the mess hall waiting for the instructor. Soon after, the girls arrived at the mess hall. Naruto was distracted, so he didn't notice the girls arriving until he felt someone sit between him and Eren. He turned to see who sat next to him. At that moment, the blonde's blue eyes met Mikasa's gray ones. They continued staring at each other for a few seconds, but neither wanted to stop looking. "Naruto. Good morning, Mika." "Mikasa. Good morning, Naruto." Naruto, seeing that she kept looking at him, decided to ask. "Naruto. Did something happen, Mika?" "Mikasa. Are they real?" "Naruto. Huh? Mikasa. The mustaches. Are they real?" she said, drawing the attention of all the recruits present. Naruto. "Ah, yes, they're real." "Mikasa. I've never met anyone with mustaches. How did you get them?" "Naruto. I actually don't know. You could say they're birthmarks." "Mikasa. Can I touch them?" she said, seeing the blonde nod. She placed her hand on his cheek. "Amazing, Naruto. Everyone says that. I guess it makes me unique," he said, relaxing from Mikasa's touch. "Eren. Why don't you save the touching for when you're alone?" "Armin. He's right. Go to your room, Eren. But use protection. I don't want to be an uncle yet." "Mikasa. What are you saying? Naruto and I are just friends," she said, blushing. Naruto stayed silent, quite flushed, with a little smoke coming out of his ears. "Eren, Armin. I know, friends." Eren and Armin were about to continue teasing them, but, for Naruto and Mikasa's luck, the instructor arrived. "Shadis. Kids. Today your training begins. The first hours of the morning will be physical training. The rest of the day you will practice balance so you can take the tests to use the ODM gear. Understood? Recruit. Hi. 4 hours later. Armin. Physical training is a drag, this is physical torture," he said, gasping on the ground. Thomas, Marco. I. They said in unison while catching their breath, touching their chests. Naruto. Come on, guys, it's not that bad. Connie. Speak for yourself, idiot. You're not even sweating. Eren. Reiner and Bertholdt are really sweating, and they're the biggest guys. Reiner. You better get used to it. Looks like this is just the beginning. Connie. I'm definitely going to die. Naruto. You're such a coward, Connie, he said, sticking out his tongue, making Connie twitch his eye. Jean. Tisk, that was just a warm-up. If you can't handle this, you might as well leave. Naruto. But you were gasping for air and looking for water, horseface. Recruit. Ha ha ha. Jean. Damn Uzumaki. Meanwhile, with the girls. Sasha. I'm hungry, she yelled as she tried to stand up. Ymir. You're always hungry. Sasha. What do you want me to do? Carolina. The instructor is crazy. He's going to kill us. Krista. Don't say that, Carolina. Ymir. It's true, Shorty. This man has no limits. Mikasa. You're all so weak. The physical part is one of the most important, she said while wiping off sweat. Sasha. I'm not weak, but this man is crazy. Krista. At least it looks like the boys are in the same situation as us. Ymir. Except Naruto, who didn't even sweat. She said, watching the blonde laughing with the boys. Sasha. He's so perfect. She said, looking at the blonde. Ymir. Why? Krista. Kind. Carolina. Delicious. She said, drooling a little, receiving the attention of the others. Oops, did I say that out loud? Krista. Sasha. Pervert. Carolina. I don't care, he's still very delicious. Mikasa. Stop drooling, that's disgusting. She said, with a hint of jealousy in her voice. Ymir. Are you jealous, Mikasa? Mikasa. Jealous? Why would I be jealous? She said, nervous. Carolina. So, if you're not jealous, can I touch him too? Krista. Sasha. Pervert. They said, blushing. Ymir. Come on, you both want to touch him too. She said, making the two of them blush even more. Mikasa looked at Ymir, who had a loving smile, but Mikasa showed a superior smile. Mikasa. Well, you all keep dreaming. It's clear who he's going to end up with. Ymir. What do you mean, Ackerman? She said, glaring at her with a deathly aura. Mikasa. What I mean is that you can't compete with me. Naruto is clearly going to be with me. Ymir. That's what we'll see, Ackerman. Carolina. Don't forget about me, that blonde hottie is mine. Krista. Sasha. Don't forget about us too. Annie. You all are pathetic, arguing over a guy. You're so pathetic. Carolina. Yay, more blonde for us. Annie. Tisk, how annoying. Shadis. Recruits, come here now. In a few seconds, all the recruits were surrounding Shadis. Shadis. Well, from now until the last minute of the afternoon, you'll be taking the balance test to get used to the DMT. You will have the opportunity to pass the test today until the end of the day. Those who fail will have a chance to retake the test tomorrow morning, but that will be the final attempt. Those who do not pass the balance test will leave this facility. I don't want useless people. I made myself clear. Recruits. Hi, Shadis. Very well, put on the gear and the cables. When you're ready, you'll be lifted in the air. You need to stay up as long as possible. If you manage to stay straight for the designated time, you'll pass the test. And so it was, during the rest of the day, everyone practiced with the cables. Some found it easy, while others had a hard time, but most managed to balance. After hours of practicing, all the recruits gathered around the instructor. Shadis. It's time, kids. Show me what you've got. 3 hours later, most of the recruits had passed the test. Some more easily than others, but that was normal. At this moment, only 2 recruits remained. Eren Yeager and Naruto Uzumaki. Shadis. Eren Yeager. Eren. Hi, Naruto. You got this, Eren. Eren positioned himself on the machine and hooked up the cables. When he was ready, a soldier turned a crank, making him lift into the air. He seemed to be doing well. For a few seconds, he kept himself upright with difficulty, but eventually lost his balance and ended up upside down. Eren. Damn it. Shadis. What do you think you're doing, Yeager? Eren. I'll try again, sir. Shadis. You've lost your opportunity, recruit. Tomorrow will be your last chance. Eren. Yes, sir. As the soldiers helped Eren down and the other recruits commented, our favorite blonde noticed something wrong with Eren's test. Naruto. Kurama, did you see what I saw? Kurama. Yes, his equipment must be malfunctioning. Naruto. I was thinking the same thing. Kurama. So, what are you going to do? Naruto. Nothing for now. We'll let it slide, and depending on what happens, I'll think of something. Naruto. Don't worry, Eren. I know you'll make it. Armin. Naruto's right. You'll make it tomorrow. Eren. Thanks, guys, but I don't know what to think. I thought I was doing fine, but in the end, it all went wrong. Mikasa. Don't worry. If you don't make it, we'll follow you wherever you go. Shadis. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto. My turn. Mikasa. Good luck, Naruto. Naruto. Thanks, Mika, he said as he approached the machine. Eren. Hey, Armin, did you see Naruto practicing? Armin. Now that you mention it, no, I didn't see him. Thomas. I didn't either. Marco, did you see? Marco. No, I didn't. At that moment, Krista and Ymir approached to see what was going on. Krista. Did something happen? Here is the text translated into English in the same format. Eren. We were saying that none of us has seen Naruto practice. Did you see him, Krista? Actually, no. And you, Ymir? Ymir? No, Shorty. Armin. That's a bit strange. There's not much space here, so if no one has seen him, it means he hasn't practiced. Eren. But that doesn't make sense. If he hasn't practiced, how is he going to manage the test? Armin. That's what we're going to find out. At this moment, all the recruits looked at Uzumaki, who was getting ready to take the test. Those who had overheard Eren's conversation were more interested in seeing what the blonde would do. There were 3 other people analyzing him, wondering if it was true that he hadn't practiced for the test. They thought that, with some luck, he would manage to stay upright for a few seconds before turning upside down like Eren. Naruto. This is going to be easy. Kurama. It's going to be easier than taking candy from a baby for you, since you've practiced a lot these past few years. Naruto. And you're right. Shadis. Well, Uzumaki, are you ready? Naruto. Hi. The soldier turned the crank, causing Uzumaki to rise. The blonde was gradually suspended in the air. When he was fully suspended, he didn't move a muscle. The others were impressed, including the instructor, who decided to make Uzumaki do some exercises to make the test more difficult. Shadis. Recruit, stay horizontal. He shouted, startling the recruits, as none of them had to do these exercises. Naruto didn't care much and easily went horizontal without losing his balance at any point, leaving everyone surprised and stunned. Shadis was surprised, but he wasn't going to give up. He had one last card to play. Shadis. Uzumaki, do a slow full turn. Clearly, the recruits couldn't believe what they had heard. What he was asking for seemed impossible. They saw that the blonde was good, but they thought he wouldn't be able to manage it. They watched as the blonde started doing the turn without losing his balance, returning to the original position cleanly and perfectly. Shadis. Perfect, Uzumaki. Only one other person has done this exercise. You must be proud. Eren. Sir, who was the other person who succeeded? Shadis. Levi Ackerman, he said, surprising everyone. Levi Ackerman, the captain of the Survey Corps, hailed as the strongest soldier of humanity, and a recruit, both managed to complete the same exercise as that monster successfully. More clearly, many said it was luck, though many knew it wasn't. Now everyone was even more impressed with the blonde. Shadis. Well, Uzumaki, you can come down. Naruto. Hi, Shadis. Alright, that's enough for today. Tomorrow will be the final opportunity for those who haven't made it yet. You already know what will happen if you don't pass. We need capable soldiers, not idiots. Recruits. Hi. Shadis left, and the recruits stayed in the same position for a while, staring at the blonde as he took out the cables. After removing them, he left with his friends, who were still looking at him. Naruto. Hey, what happened? Why are you all so quiet? Eren. How did you do that, Naruto? Naruto. The exercise? Practicing, why? Armin. Well, Naruto, we all agreed that we didn't see you practicing at all. Naruto. You must be blind. If I hadn't practiced, I wouldn't have been able to do it, he said, even though he was laughing inside. Thomas. Still, how did you get so good? Naruto. Talent, I guess. Reiner. Well, we'd better go. This feels like an interrogation. Berthold. Reiner is right. We're going to have more tough training tomorrow. Recruits. Hi. All the recruits were heading to their cabins to take a shower and change clothes. Half an hour later, they were all in the mess hall, chatting cheerfully and discussing the training for the next day. Mikasa. Eren, are you sure you're okay? Eren. Yes, Mikasa, you don't have to ask me that all the time. Mikasa. I'm just worried about you. Eren. Well, don't. You're not my mom. Mikasa. But. Eren. But nothing, Mikasa. Naruto. Eren, don't talk like that. She's your sister and she's worried about you. Eren. I know, Naruto, but. Naruto. But nothing, Eren. You don't know how lucky you are to have a sister like Mikasa, who's always there for you and cares about you all the time. Eren. You're right. Sorry, Naruto. Naruto. You don't need to apologize to me. You should apologize to Mikasa for acting like that, you blockhead. Eren. Hey. Well, sorry, Mikasa. I'm still frustrated because of the test. Mikasa. Don't worry, Eren. You'll make it tomorrow, I'm sure of it, she said, giving a grateful look to the blonde, who smiled because of it. Jin. Mikasa, don't give him false hope. Once useless, always useless. Eren. Repeat that, you idiot. He yelled, getting up. Jin. Gladly, you damn idiot. He stood up to face Eren. Naruto. You too, stop it. Eren, don't pay attention to his comments, and Jin, shut up and mind your own business. Jin. Shut up, Uzumaki. I'm not talking to you. Naruto. The moment you interfere, my friend, you're interfering with me too, and I'm not going to accept that from a coward like you. Jin. I'm sick of you, Uzumaki. He clenched his fist to hit the blonde's face. Naruto grabbed Jin's fist and twisted it, holding Jin's shoulder with one hand and the other hand behind the horse-faced guy's back. Then, he tripped him, making him fall on his back. He pressed his knee against Jin's chest, near his neck, to keep him still. Jin. Arg. Let go, you idiot. Naruto. I'll say this only once, Jin. Mind your own business and leave others alone. Naruto stood up and went to the table. Jin stayed on the floor, catching his breath. At that moment, the door opened and everyone saw Instructor Shadis with an unfriendly look on his face. Shadis. Can you explain to me why all this commotion and why Recruit Kirstein is on the floor? Naruto. I'll explain, sir. Shadis. I'm all ears, Uzumaki. Naruto. Our buddy Jin thought he was superior to everyone, so I made him face reality. Shadis. You know that fighting a comrade is grounds for expulsion, Recruit. Naruto. I know, sir, but I don't regret anything. Shadis sighed. I'll let it slide this time, Uzumaki, but don't let this happen again. Naruto. Understood. Shadis. All right, Marco, take Kirstein to the infirmary. Marco. Understood. Shadis. And the rest, no more noise. Recruits. Understood. Shadis left the cafeteria, followed by Marco and Jin. Krista. Don't you think you went too far, Naruto? Naruto. I don't think so. He deserved it. Eren. You're right, Naruto. Sometimes Jin is really annoying. Armin. Yeah, Ymir. Little one, Naruto's right. The horse-faced guy deserved it. Krista. But, Naruto. Relax, Krista. You don't need to worry. This was just a warning. The pain will pass tomorrow. He said, waving at the little blonde. Carolina. That was amazing, Naruto. Since when do you know how to fight? Naruto. I've been training since I was little. Carolina. Well, you could teach me. You know, you and I, together and no one else, she said, shooting a death glare at the others. Girls. That bitch, they thought. Thomas. Well, if you've been training since you were little, now I understand why you don't sweat during physical training. Connie. Putting that aside, did you see Jin's face when he was on the ground? Man, that was hilarious. Mikasa. Thank you so much, Naruto, for helping my brother, she said, hugging the blonde and arrogantly smiling at the others. Girls. Damn Ackerman, they thought. Naruto. No problem, Mika. Taking care of my friends is something I always do, he said, still hugging Mikasa. Eren. That's the way to talk, Naruto. But you should say more than friends. It should be family since you're my brother-in-law. Right, Armin? Armin. Yes, Eren. Can't you see they've been hugging for quite a while? Everyone looked at the couple who was still hugging. The two quickly separated, both blushing, even though Mikasa wanted to stay in the blonde's arms a little longer, as he radiated a comforting warmth. Naruto. Well, I'm going for a walk before bed. Good night, everyone. Recruits. Good night, Naruto. Eren. Wait, Naruto. Can I ask a favor? Naruto. Sure. Do you want to talk here or outside? Eren. It's better outside. They left the cafeteria and walked for a few seconds before starting their conversation. Naruto. So, what did you want to ask me, Eren? Eren. I want you to help me get stronger. I promised not to run from any titans, and I want to keep my word. So, I wanted you to help me with the DMT equipment since you're the best. Naruto. You know, just the fact that you're asking me for help shows that you're strong. Eren. What do you mean? Naruto. What I mean is that you're admitting your flaw and are willing to improve. You know, the weakest people are the ones who think they have no flaws, and the strongest are the ones who, besides admitting their flaws and asking for help, enjoy getting better every day. Eren. Thank you for that. Naruto. You're welcome. Well, if your problem is the balance test, let's practice. Eren. And where are we going to practice? Naruto. In the training field, where else? Eren. But if they catch us there, won't we get in trouble? Naruto. I don't think so. I mean, we're just two recruits practicing to improve. They should be happy with our dedication. Eren. If you say so. Naruto. Well, tomorrow you'll pass the test without even noticing and will kill a lot of titans. Eren. Yes. Shadis. Jaeger, this is your last chance. Eren. Yes, sir. All the recruits watched as Eren prepared to take the test. Many didn't believe he would pass, while others were hopeful. No one took their eyes off him, except the blonde, who already knew the outcome. Naruto and Eren had spent the entire night practicing for Eren to pass the test. Naruto knew perfectly well that Eren's equipment was faulty, but he wanted to see how far his determination would take him. The blonde suspected that the instructor had intentionally given him the defective equipment, but he still didn't understand why. Shadis. Ready, Jaeger? Eren. Yes, sir. Shadis. Lift him up. He shouted to the soldier who started turning the crank. Soldiers. High. After being suspended in the air, Eren stayed as still as possible. Shaking a little, but managing to stay upright with effort. The recruits were quite surprised, including Shadis. Shadis. Enough, Jaeger. You passed. Eren. I did it. He shouted, raising his hands to the sky. Connie. That's it, Eren. Thomas. I thought he wouldn't pass, but I see I was wrong. Armin. Well done, Eren. But how did you do that? I mean, yesterday you couldn't do it, and today you managed. Eren. I had some help. Armin. Help? Who helped you? Instead of speaking, Eren pointed his finger, and everyone looked at the blonde who was talking to Instructor Shadis. Connie. Did Naruto help you? Eren. Yes, we spent the whole night practicing. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have made it. Armin. Ah, that's why you weren't in the cabin when I woke up this morning. I was surprised, because you're the laziest person I know. I know waking up early isn't your strong suit. Eren. Hey, Krista. Guys, what do you think Naruto is saying to Instructor Shadis? They look pretty serious. Marco. No idea, but whatever it is, Naruto has it under control. Sasha. I hope he doesn't get into trouble. I wouldn't want them to expel him. Mikasa. Neither you nor I, Sasha. Neither you nor I. Minutes earlier. Naruto. Instructor, can I talk to you? Shadis. What is it about, Uzumaki? Naruto. What's the purpose of giving defective equipment to Eren, sir? Naruto noticed how Shadis tensed up and his face became serious. Shadis. What do you mean, Uzumaki? Naruto. One of Eren's equipment axles was loose, and seeing his reaction when he passed the test tells me you knew too. So, why wasn't that axle replaced? Shadis. That's none of your business, Uzumaki. Now, go back with the others. Naruto. You tried to sabotage a teammate of mine, and I still don't understand why you did that. Shadis. I told you to go, Uzumaki. Naruto. Did you want him to fail? Did you want Eren to fail? Or maybe. Shadis. Out. He yelled, drawing the attention of all the recruits and supervisors. Naruto. Yes, sir, he said, walking away from the very angry instructor. Shadis. And you, what are you looking at? Start with the hand-to-hand combat, you idiots. He yelled before walking toward the assistants and supervisors. Watch these kids. I need to talk to Commander Erwin about important matters. Without waiting for a response, Shadis went to a stable to get a horse and head toward the scout regiment's base, which was about an hour away by horseback. The recruits were practicing hand-to-hand combat, supervised by the assistants and monitors. Naruto left the field angrily. He didn't understand why the instructor tried to sabotage a teammate. He didn't like that at all. An hour later, Shadis finally arrived at the scout regiment's base. He dismounted from the horse and started walking toward Commander Erwin's office. He knocked on the door as soon as he arrived and received confirmation to enter. When he entered, he saw two people in the room. The first was a man leaning against the wall. He was short, had black hair, and a bored expression. The other was sitting at the desk, much taller, blonde, and with blue eyes. These were the captain of the scout regiment, Levi Ackerman, and the commander of the scout regiment, Erwin Smith. Shadis. Erwin, Levi. Erwin. Instructor Shadis, what brings you here? I thought you were monitoring the new recruits, he said, confused. Shaddus. Yes, but I have a problem. Levi. Define problem, he said, uninterested. Shaddus. A recruit. Levi. A recruit? He said, raising an eyebrow, as did Irwin. Shaddus. It's hard to explain, especially about this recruit. Irwin and Levi's curiosity was visible. Since when did Instructor Shaddus come to talk about a recruit? Irwin. And why did you come to us? Wouldn't it be better to speak with Commander Nile and Commander Pixis, since they're in charge of anything that happens within the walls? Shaddus. Well, that's one of the problems, he said, not knowing how to drop the bomb. Levi. Get to the point, he said with a serious expression. Shaddus. Well, it turns out this recruit didn't come from inside the walls, he said, causing Irwin to widen his eyes and Levi to adopt a more serious expression. Irwin. What? He didn't come from the walls? Shaddus. No, Irwin. Levi. How can we be sure of that? Shaddus. On the day of the presentation, he was late and disrespected me several times. I let it slide, but I became curious about where he came from. I soon found out there was nothing about him in the records. No family, no residence, no personal data. The only thing in the record was his application form. It's like he never existed. I requested him to come to my office, and we had a talk. During that conversation, I managed to get him to tell me where he came from. He said he came from outside the walls. That's all the information I got, but I'm sure he's hiding a lot. Irwin. What's his name? Shaddus. Naruto Uzumaki. Irwin. I've never heard that surname before. What about you, Levi? He might have lived in the underground. Levi. Negative. I would have remembered that unusual surname. Irwin. Is there anything else you can tell us, Shaddus? Shaddus. The kid is a prodigy. He passed the suspension tests, outperforming Levi. He's also very intelligent, clever, knows when and how to act, and has no respect for superiors. Irwin. And in hand-to-hand combat? Shaddus. I don't know, sir, but he had a confrontation with a comrade last night, and from what I was told, the recruit didn't stand a chance against Uzumaki. Levi. How old is he? Shaddus. Between 15 and 16, he said, making Levi even more thoughtful. Irwin. What do you think, Levi? Levi. After the fall of Shiganshina, a group from the Stationary Guard was talking about a person who, during the attack, was killing Titans easily without using an ODM gear. They also said that the stranger saved many lives. Irwin. Yes, Pixis also mentioned that to me. The stranger wore black pants and a black hoodie. No one knows who he is. In the first weeks, people talked a lot about him, but after a while, it just became a rumor. He never showed up again. But anyway, why did you bring this up? Do you think the recruit could be him? Levi. I don't think so. It's been 2 years since the fall of Shiganshina. He would have been about 13 back then. At that age, many joined the academy, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility. Irwin. How many people know he came from outside the walls? Shaddus. No one else. To the others, he came from Shiganshina. Levi. Why Shiganshina? He said, growing more suspicious. Shaddus. No idea. Irwin. I would like to see this kid's skills. Shaddus. They will be practicing hand-to-hand combat because in 3 days they will have a field test. Irwin. Perfect. I'll be there, and after seeing his skills, I'll decide what to do. Levi. What if the brat sees you and ends up underperforming on purpose? Don't forget the kid is clever. Shaddus. He's right. Uzumaki is very clever and never lowers his guard. Irwin. All right. Levi and I will be hidden in the trees. Shaddus. All right. I'll head back to the training field. I expect you guys to arrive in 3 days, he said, leaving the room. Irwin. What do you think, Levi? Levi. If what he said is true, this kid is dangerous. No one survives outside the walls. Irwin. I thought the same thing. Levi. What do you have in mind? Irwin. If he surprises me, I'll invite him to join the Survey Corps. If he accepts, you'll keep an eye on him. Levi. You know I'm not a babysitter. I can't stand brats. Irwin. I know, but if it's true that he's hiding something, you're the best one to find out. Levi. I'm honored, he said sarcastically. And what are we going to say when his teammates ask about him? Irwin. I don't know. Do you have anything in mind? Levi. Tisk. We can say he was selected to join our expedition, with the excuse that the stationary guard is in need of recruits because some soldiers are having health problems. He'll be very helpful if he really is a prodigy. If Shadis exaggerated, we can send him back to the academy to finish the mandatory 3 years. Erwin. Subtle and functional. Levi. Get ready. We'll visit the recruits in 3 days. Levi. By the way, do you know what he looks like? Erwin. I don't, he said, scratching the back of his neck. I was so curious I forgot to ask. Levi. You're a good commander, but you're also a big idiot. You really can't be fixed. Erwin. That hurt, he said with a depressed aura. 3 days later. During these 3 days, all the recruits were practicing hand-to-hand combat, except Naruto, who didn't show up any of the days. The other recruits were curious about this, but since the instructor didn't say anything, they decided not to ask. Many already knew that the blonde could fight, since he had beaten Jean. At this moment, everyone, including the blonde, was on a platform preparing for the field test. The field test itself was simple. Groups of 6 people using their 3D maneuver gear in the forest, finding the wooden simulation titans, cutting their napes, and reaching the other platform on the other side of the forest in the shortest time possible. The recruits were divided into 4 groups. First group, irrelevant characters, Hannah Diamond, Franz Kefka, Samuel, Daz, Tom, and Sandra. Second group, Rainer Braun, Berthold Hoover, Jean Kirstein, Nick Tius, Marco Bott, and Thomas Wagner. Third group, Ymir, Milius Zaramuski, Mina Carolina, Annie Lenhart, Connie Springer, and Sasha Blouse. Fourth group, Mikasa Ackerman, Armin Arlert, Eren Yeager, Krista Lenz, Hitch Dreiss, and Naruto Uzumaki. They were all talking while waiting for the instructor, who had entered the woods without anyone noticing. Shadis. Well, I will launch a green flare when each group starts. Erwin. One last question, Shadis. What's the boy like? You didn't describe his appearance to us, he said, leaning on Levi. Shadis. Well, Naruto Uzumaki is in the 4th group. He has messy blonde hair, blue eyes with 3 marks on each cheek, and he is a little taller than the rest. Levi. Well, let's go then, he said, firing a hook into the tree where he would observe the field test along with Erwin. Shadis used his equipment to reach the platform where the recruits were, making them fall silent and fall into formation. Shadis. All right, you know what to do in this test. I'll go to the other platform on the other side of the woods. The test for each group will begin when I fire a green flare. The group that exceeds 10 minutes will not have dinner, and the ones WHO finish first will be excused from their household tasks for a week. Was that clear? Recruits. Yes. Shadis. Get ready, recruits. Shadis quickly went to the other platform, leaving the starting line for Group 1. When he reached the platform, he took a flare gun and shot it into the sky, starting Group 1's test. The first group was the worst. They advanced without formation, without communication. There were 6 recruits taking the test with no skill and no teamwork. They finished the test in 9 minutes and 25 seconds. Shadis quickly fired a second flare, starting the second group's test. The second group was a bit better. Rainer and Berthold worked well as a team, but unfortunately, Nick, Jean, Thomas, and Marco couldn't keep up with their pace, as they were quite disoriented. They made some mistakes that cost them time. Group 2 finished the test in exactly 8 minutes and 5 seconds, surpassing Group 1, which was all with their heads down. Shadis fired a flare again, starting Group 3's test. Without a doubt, this group was very good. Ymir, Milius, Carolina, Connie, and Sasha formed a perfect team, even with some communication errors, but nothing serious. The biggest problem for the group was Annie. They noticed that she was much more skilled than them, and when the test started, she was already ahead. Group 3 was the best so far, surpassing the other 2 with a time of 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Now there was only one group left. The previous 3 had already finished and were being watched by 2 people sitting in a tree. Levi. This is a pain. They're a bunch of useless brats. Erwin. Give them time, Levi. They still have 3 years before they join any corps. Levi. Tisk, whatever. Erwin. The recruit we came to see is in this last group. Levi. It's the moment of truth, he said, seeing a green flare in the sky. Meanwhile, with the 4th group. Krista. How are we going to do this? she said, swinging with her team. Naruto. Here's the plan. Mikasa and Armin, right. Eren and Hitch, left. Krista and I through the middle. We'll make it quick, and once we're done, we'll regroup. Understood? Everyone. Hi. With Mikasa and Armin, they split up, with Mikasa leading. Mikasa was cutting through the Titans while Armin fed her information on the Titans' positions, quickly eliminating them. When they were finished and certain there were no more Titans, they made their way to the center to regroup. With Eren and Hitch. Eren had charged in recklessly due to his excitement and impatience, but fortunately, Hitch was more level-headed and was able to control the situation. The two took down the Titans efficiently. When they finished and confirmed there were no more Titans, just like Mikasa and Armin, they went to the center to regroup. With Krista and Naruto. Naruto. Chris-chan, I want you to stay behind me and tell me the position of the Titans. If I miss any, you finish them off. Got it? Krista. Hi, she said, a little flushed. Everything was going as planned. Naruto was easily slicing through the napes of the wooden Titans while Krista followed him, reporting the Titans' locations. They jumped from tree to tree using their gear. Finally, in front of them stood the last Titan. Naruto propelled himself off a branch and charged toward the Titan to finish it off, but he heard Krista scream. He looked back. Krista had climbed a branch to propel herself like the blonde, but the branch had cracked slightly, causing her to lose her balance. Her gear's cables, due to the imbalance, got tangled and became unusable. Naruto saw her fall from a great height, helpless to do anything. Erwin was about to act to save her, but Levi stopped him, pointing at Naruto. Naruto immediately went to rescue his teammate. In an incredible move, he fired his hooks at the Titan, then released a large amount of gas, spinning 180 degrees at high speed. Then, he shot the hooks into a tree trunk and released more gas, speeding toward his teammate. The blonde's vision slowed, seconds felt like minutes and minutes like hours. He saw helplessly as his teammate fell, knowing he wouldn't make it in time. Knowing there was no other choice, he channeled chakra into his feet and launched himself off a tree trunk while spinning his body horizontally, as if lying on his back. He stretched his arms to grab Krista. The blonde couldn't believe what was happening. She was going to die in such a pathetic way, without even having seen a real Titan. She wouldn't be able to talk to her teammates again, nor see that blonde who never left her mind. She closed her eyes, tears running down her face, awaiting the impact. Time passed, but she didn't feel the impact. She felt two hands grip her tightly, holding her protectively as everything seemed to spin, and then, nothing. Here is the translation of the text in the same format. Krista opened her eyes and saw the blonde who was holding her tightly. Blood was dripping from his face, and his eyes were closed. She was in shock. His sword was broken, and his uniform was torn and stained with mud and blood. Krista looked around and quickly realized what the blonde had done. He had held her in the air to protect her as much as possible from the fall. After they fell, they rolled several meters before coming to a stop. Krista. Naruto. She screamed, holding the blonde with tears in her eyes. Naruto. Grr. He groaned in pain as he tried to get up. Krista. Don't move. You're badly injured, and it's all my fault, she said, crying while holding the blonde. Naruto. Don't cry, he said, placing a hand on Krista's cheek. To save you, he coughed. I would do it all over again. He coughed again, closing his eyes from pain and exhaustion. Krista. Naruto. She shouted, shaking him a bit to wake him up, but he didn't open his eyes. Wake up, Naruto, please. Help, I need help, please. She screamed as loudly as she could while holding the blonde. Krista's tears ran down her blue eyes and dripped onto Naruto's wounded face. Mikasa, Armin, Eren, and Hitch were walking toward the center when they heard Krista's cries for help. They ran toward the scream and were shocked to see Krista kneeling, crying, covered in mud and blood, holding Naruto's body, who had his eyes closed and was severely injured. They quickly snapped out of their shock and went to help their friends. Mikasa. Naruto. She ran to him with a distressed and worried look on her face. Eren. Krista, what happened? Why is Naruto like this? He asked, very concerned for his friend. Krista. This is my fault. The branch broke, I lost my balance and fell. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, I was on the ground, being held by Naruto. It's all my fault, she said, crying more, not letting go of the blonde. Armin. We need to get him to the infirmary quickly. Mikasa, Eren, get Naruto there fast. Hitch, try to calm Krista down and take her back to base to change. I'll inform Instructor Shadis about the accident. Everyone. Okay. Hitch. Let's go, Krista. She said, picking her up in her arms and carrying her. Calm down, Krista. He'll be fine. He's strong. Mikasa. Eren, hurry, she said, holding the blonde from behind while supporting one of his arms on her shoulder. Eren did the same as his sister, and they headed to the medical cabin to save the blonde. While using the equipment, their faces reflected concern, anguish, sadness, and fear. Mikasa. Hang in there, Naruto, please, she thought. Eren. Hold on, buddy. We're almost there, he thought. Meanwhile, Armin was rushing toward the platform since Instructor Shadis was there with their companions. Armin was very worried and distressed, which was evident on his face, and his white shirt was stained with blood. When he arrived, he ran straight to the instructor, ignoring the other recruits. Armin. Sir, Naruto is seriously injured, sir. He called everyone's attention who was present. Shadis. What happened, Arlet? He shouted, very distressed. Naruto was one of his recruits, even though they didn't get along. He was his responsibility. Armin. I'm not sure, sir. The only one who can answer that question is Krista. Hitch is trying to calm her down. Eren and Mikasa took Naruto to the infirmary, sir. Shadis. Arlet, how serious was it? He said, preparing to go to the medical ward. Armin. Very serious, sir. Severe injuries, possibly some broken bones. He was unconscious when we arrived, sir, he said, very distressed. Shadis. Calm down, Arlet. Tell everyone to return to the cabins and meet me later in the infirmary, along with Krista and Hitch, he shouted, before leaving. Armin. I know you have questions, but you'll have to wait. Naruto is injured, so go back to the cabins. I need to go to the medical ward. The others waved. Even Reiner, Bertholdt, and Annie were a little worried. The recruits, without questioning, returned to the cabins with concerned faces. Armin sighed and went after Hitch and Krista to take them to Shadis. Meanwhile, with the two observers, they were surprised by what had happened. The first one was in a bad mood with the other, and the second one was impressed with the skills, but also worried about the health of the blonde. Erwin. Damn it, Levi. Why did you stop me? This shouldn't have happened. Levi. I made a choice, Erwin. I chose to trust the kid. Erwin. What the hell are you saying? He said, grabbing Levi by the arm. Levi. Damn it, I don't know what the right choice was. Trusting that kid is like trusting you. There will always be a risk. We would never know the outcome. Erwin relaxed a little with Levi's words. He was right. To the others, they had never been there, so Uzumaki would have to act on his own. He saw that the blonde had incredible skill. Shadis was right, no one could do what he did, and Erwin had no doubts about that. Erwin. I already know what I'm going to do with this kid, he said, looking at the place where the blonde's body was. Levi. What are you going to do? He said, raising an eyebrow. The instructor Shadis rushed towards the infirmary. He didn't want to imagine the worst. Reaching the front of the medical hut, he saw Eren and Mikasa sitting on the stairs, visibly nervous. Shadis passed between them and went straight into the hut. He stared at the doctors and approached them. Two of the three doctors were bandaging wounds to stop the bleeding, while the third was taking notes. Shadis approached the doctor in charge of the medical wing. Shadis. How is he? He asked, observing the blonde's injuries. Doctor. We're stabilizing him as much as we can, but we need to transfer him. We're not equipped for this type of injury. Shadis. What do you need to transfer him? Doctor. A cart with a pair of horses. Shadis didn't ask anything else. He left the hut and walked over to the two recruits. Shadis. Jaeger, Ackerman, come with me. He shouted as he kept walking. Eren. Where are we going, sir? He said, following the instructor along with Mikasa. Shadis. To the stables. We need to prepare transport to move Uzumaki. Mikasa. Where will he be transferred to, sir? She asked, visibly worried. Shadis. Trost. Let's hurry. Meanwhile, inside Naruto's mental space. Naruto. Damn, that hurt. Kurama. What did you expect, idiot? You fell from 30 meters. Naruto. Tisk, don't remind me. Kurama. Why don't you think before you act? Naruto. There wasn't much time to think. Krista was in danger, she could have died. I couldn't let that happen, Kurama. Kurama. Always the hero. You're going to end up killing us both like this. Naruto. Then why don't you heal me, you damn furball? Kurama. Sure, I'll heal you, and when the doctors notice, you'll say you have healing powers. You're really an idiot, Naruto. Damn it. So, Kurama. Let's wait for your body to heal naturally. Naruto. Damn. Outside the mental space, the cart was already stopped in front of the infirmary. The doctors were moving the blonde onto a stretcher in front of instructor Shadis, who was with Eren, Mikasa, and the newly arrived Armin, Krista, and Hitch. After checking everything was ready, the cart quickly left the facility for Trost's hospital. After it left, the area where the recruits and the instructor were became completely silent. Shadis. Now I want you to explain to me what happened for Uzumaki to end up in this condition, he said, staring at the recruits. Krista sighed and stepped forward. I know what happened, sir. Naruto protected me. He saved my life, she said, with tears in her eyes. Shadis. Explain, recruit. How did he save your life? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Krista explained everything that had happened, from the strategy used for the test to when the blonde fell unconscious and was carried by Mikasa and Eren. Krista. That's what happened, sir. Shadis sighed. Well, first of all, I don't blame you for what happened. What's done is done. Go back to the cabins and tell the others that I'll explain what happened during dinner. Without saying anything, the five left and went to the cabins, while the instructor stood there, waiting for them to distance themselves. Shadis. Is that what happened? He said, looking towards the cabin where Erwin and Levi had just come out. Erwin. Yes, that kid saved her and, consequently, got badly injured. Shadis. I see. That kid gives me a headache, but I'm glad for his actions. Levi. His skills with the equipment are amazing, and his reflexes are just as good. You were right, this kid is really interesting. Erwin. That's why I've already made a decision. I'm going to ask if he wants to join the Survey Corps, he said seriously. Shadis. Seriously? He's almost the same age, but only has a few weeks of training. Levi. From what I've seen, I can say he's more than qualified and still has room to improve. Erwin. Yes. He'll accompany us on expeditions and train with Levi's squad. When not needed, he'll return to continue his training. Shadis simply nodded, though he didn't fully agree with this. Shadis. Anything else? Erwin. Yes, we decided not to tell his teammates, but in the end, it's a choice he has to make. Shadis. I understand. That's the right thing. Erwin. Well, let's head back to base. We'll send someone to inform him when he wakes up. It was good to see you again, Shadis, he said, shaking the instructor's hand. Shadis. Likewise, Erwin. Be careful. You too, Levi, he said, receiving a nod. The three left, Shadis returned to the field, and Erwin and Levi mounted their horses to return to base. 1 week later, all the recruits knew what had happened. They all talked about the same thing, how Naruto had saved Krista and how he might be. Everyone wanted him to recover soon. The boys missed the blonde who used to tell jokes and make playful comments to keep the days from being too dull. Even Jean was worried after hearing what had happened, although he would never admit it. The girls' situation was different. The ones who stood out the most were Mikasa and Krista. They wanted him to come back as soon as possible. The others also missed the blonde. Many started to be more interested in him after his heroic act, except for Annie. She was already interested in him and had decided to talk to him when he returned. On the other hand, in the Trost hospital, inside a room, Naruto was sleeping in bed. His body was almost completely bandaged. The room was completely silent. Only the sound of the blonde's breathing could be heard. Everything would have been normal if not for the fact that the blonde started to wake up. He opened his eyes and closed them again due to the light in the room. He opened them again, this time more slowly, to get used to the light. He looked around and realized he was in a hospital room. He tried to move, but the pain stopped him. He looked out the window, where sunlight was coming in, then to the door, which opened. A nurse entered, reading some papers on a clipboard. Naruto noticed she hadn't realized he was awake. Naruto. Hey, he said, making the nurse stop reading and look at him. After a few seconds, she ran out of the room. Wow, that was strange. Not even a minute passed before the same nurse returned, now accompanied by a man. Both seemed quite surprised. The man quickly approached and began examining him. Doctor. How are you feeling? Naruto. I'd say I'm feeling better, he replied, making the doctor smile. Doctor. Your accident was very severe. We thought you'd be unconscious for a few more weeks. Naruto. I've always recovered quickly since I was a kid. How long was I out? Doctor. About a week. Naruto. Wow. And when can I go back to base? Doctor. It seems like you don't like staying in bed, do you? Naruto. No, especially not in hospitals, he said, making a face. Doctor. Well, I'm afraid you'll have to stay here for another 2 months. Your injuries were very severe. You'll need to be monitored daily and undergo checkups to ensure a full recovery before returning to the base. Naruto sighed. If there's no other way. Doctor. I'll come back this afternoon for more tests. For now, you should rest. Naruto closed his eyes to rest. Meanwhile, Erwin and Levi had just received the news that the recruit had woken up. They were preparing to make a visit. 2 hours later, Naruto was sleeping until he was awakened by a voice calling him from the other side of the door. He adjusted himself on the pillow and allowed the person to enter. 2 men walked in. The blonde didn't know who they were, but he was surprised to see the Scout Regiment emblem on their clothes. Levi. Are you Naruto Uzumaki? Naruto. Yes, that's me. But who are you and how do you know my name? Erwin. Sorry for not introducing ourselves earlier. I'm Erwin Smith, commander of the Scout Regiment. Levi. Levi Ackerman, captain of the Scout Regiment. Naruto. Nice to meet you. But that doesn't answer my other question. Erwin. Well, Instructor Shadis told us a lot about you and your skills. We decided to observe your test secretly. Levi. You showed great skill with the gear when you saved that girl. Not just anyone could do what you did. Naruto. You were there? But where? He asked, quite confused. He really hadn't felt their presence. Erwin. We hid high in the trees to see everything clearly. And, as Levi said, not everyone can do that. Good job. You really surprised us. Naruto. Well, thanks. But I'm sure you didn't come here just to congratulate me, he said, predicting the direction the conversation was going. Erwin. As the instructor said, you're clever. You're right, we didn't come here just to congratulate you. And I think you know why we're here. Naruto. Do I look like a fortune teller? He said seriously, although inside he was laughing along with Kurama. Levi. Don't play dumb, kid. We know you lived outside the walls before joining. Naruto. Yeah, I did. Erwin. And how did you survive? Naruto. Being stealthy, avoiding titans, going days without food. Levi. If that's true, why did you prefer to live outside the walls when you could have been inside with food and safety? Naruto. Why would I want to live inside the walls like a caged bird? He replied, leaving Levi and Erwin confused. Erwin. What do you mean? Naruto. The bird is never safe inside the cage because the predator will always find a way in. That happened in Shinganshina and Wall Maria. Who told you we're safer inside Wall Rose and that the same thing won't happen again? Both Erwin and Levi stared at the blonde without saying anything. His words were realistic and true. They stayed silent for a few seconds. Levi. Are you a genius or an idiot? Naruto. Who wants to be a genius? Being a genius means being better than others at things that have already been done or discovered. The idiots are the ones with new ideas, called idiots until their ideas work. Then, they're called geniuses. I'd rather be an idiot. Erwin. That's interesting. I've never thought about it like that. Naruto. The way we think makes us unique and different. Levi. I guess so. Erwin. Naruto, we want you to join the Scout Regiment. You have drive, experience, skill, leadership potential, and a talent for strategy. We need you. I need you. Naruto. All right, count me in, he said, making both of them smile. Erwin. Perfect. But there will be some conditions. Naruto. Conditions? Erwin. Yes, we've spoken to the doctor. He said you can return to active duty in 2 months. After that, you'll train with Levi to make up for lost time. You'll participate in expeditions with us and train with Levi's team until you graduate from the academy. If all goes well, you could have your own squad. Naruto. Sounds good to me. Anything else? Levi. When we no longer need your services, you'll return to the base to continue your training. Even if you don't need it, you can't talk about this with your comrades, although the final decision is yours. Naruto. Alright, Erwin. Well, time to go. Levi will be back in 2 months. I'm looking forward to your return, Uzumaki. Naruto. I prefer just Naruto, he said, causing Erwin to nod. Erwin. Alright, Naruto. Good luck, he said, leaving the room. Levi. Try not to cause too much trouble, Brad. See you, he said with a small smile. 3 months later. Today, the blonde had just finished his training with Levi. It had been a month since he left the hospital and began training with Levi. During the month of living with Levi, he noticed that Levi was a neat freak, which he found really funny. He also took the opportunity to get to know the little man better. Levi shared about his life, the death of his mother, being chosen and then abandoned by Kenny Ackerman, his mother's brother, and how he joined the Survey Corps. During training, Naruto spoke with Kurama, and they decided to reveal some of his abilities to the little guy. Flashback. Naruto and Levi were resting, sitting on branches of a tree while watching the sunset. Everything was silent until the blonde decided to break the silence. Naruto. Levi. Levi. What is it? Naruto. Can I trust you? He said, catching the little guy's attention, who looked at him. Levi. Of course. What is it about? Naruto. Well, I have some abilities I haven't told anyone about. He said, making the short man raise an eyebrow. Levi. Define abilities. Naruto. Special ones. Levi. If this is a joke, it's not funny, Naruto. Naruto. It's not a joke. Levi. Then show me. Naruto crossed his fingers. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. He shouted, causing some smoke to appear. When the smoke cleared, the short man saw 2 other Narutos standing next to the original, which surprised Levi. Levi. How did you do that? Naruto. I told you. It's a special ability. And I have many others I don't want to show right now. Levi. Why didn't you tell Erwin? Naruto. I only trust you and my comrades from the academy. You're the first person to see my abilities, and you have to promise me you won't tell anyone. Levi. Why? Naruto. You know, just like I do, that power only brings problems. I don't want to attract attention. Levi. I guess so. But anyway, I won't be able to keep this secret forever. Naruto. I know, but when the right time comes, I'll be ready. Levi. You're getting more and more annoying, you know that? He said, sighing. You can count on me. I won't leave a friend alone. Naruto. Thanks, Levi. Really? Levi. What else can you do? Naruto. When the time is right, you'll know. He said, smiling. End of flashback. Levi. Well, Naruto, today you're going back to the base, but remember that your first mission will be in a week. Naruto. Alright, will I meet my new team? Levi. Yes, now it's time to go. See you in a week, Brad. And try not to kill yourself again. He said as he walked away with the horse. Naruto. I told you not to call me Brad. He yelled, watching him leave without looking back. Damn Ackerman. Naruto mounted the horse and headed toward the base. It took about an hour to get there. He left the horse in the stable and went to personally notify Instructor Shadis. He was probably in his office, since it was night and training had finished. Upon arriving at the office, the blonde knocked on the door and soon heard footsteps approaching. When the door opened, he recognized Instructor Shadis, who seemed surprised to see him. Shadis. I wasn't expecting you today, Uzumaki. He said, smiling. Naruto. I'm ready to start training with my teammates, sir. He said, causing Shadis' smile to widen. Shadis. All right, head to the cafeteria. Your teammates are there. I told Levi, but I came up with an excuse for your absence, so the other recruits wouldn't ask questions. Now you can go. Naruto said nothing, just smiled and turned to leave the cabin. Oh, Uzumaki. Naruto. Sir? Shadis. I'm glad you're back. Naruto. I'm glad to be back too. He said, walking out of the cabin toward the cafeteria. After a few seconds, the blonde was in front of the cafeteria door. He didn't know why, but he was very nervous. He recognized the voices echoing inside. They were his teammates. He opened the door and entered, quickly realizing that all eyes were on him. Before he could say anything, he was knocked to the ground by 2 female figures. One blonde and one with black hair. After regaining his senses, he found himself being hugged by Krista and Mikasa, who looked at him with sparkling eyes and radiant smiles. Krista. Naruto, I missed you so much. she said, hiding her face in his chest. Mikasa. Don't scare me like that again, she said, hugging him even tighter. Despite Krista and Mikasa's happiness, there was someone suffering, Naruto. It had been several seconds since he couldn't breathe due to the strength of their hugs, and his skin was starting to turn blue. Luckily, someone noticed and came to help. Annie. Let him go, you idiots. He can't breathe, she shouted, causing the two to look at the blonde, blushing from what they had done. Naruto took a deep breath when he was finally released and made a mental note to thank Annie for saving him. When he regained his breath, he got up from the floor and looked at the girls who had hugged him. Naruto. I missed you both too, Chris-chan, Mika-chan. He said, smiling, making them blush. Carolina. Hey, what about me, Naruto, didn't you miss me? She said, puffing out her cheeks, receiving a smile from the blonde and death stares from Krista and Mikasa. Naruto. Of course, I missed all of you. You're my teammates. Eren. Hey, don't forget about us. He said, shaking the blonde's hand, followed by Armin. Armin. We were really worried, Naruto. We thought you wouldn't come back. Naruto. It takes more than that to kill me. He said, puffing out his chest proudly, making the others laugh. Jean. Yeah, looks like the #1 suicidal blonde is back. He said with a smile, supported by Connie, Marco, and Thomas. Naruto. I'm happy to see all of you. Looks like you guys grew up while I was away. Sasha. Well, after hearing what you did for Krista, we decided to take training more seriously. She said, walking up to the blonde. Though, you've grown too, and you look even more handsome. She said, making the blonde blush a little and receiving death glares from all the girls, but she ignored them. Ymir. But we have one exception, Connie is still the same shorty as always. She said, making everyone laugh. Connie. Haha, very funny, Ymir. Naruto. Before we continue the conversation, I'm going to grab something to eat. I just got here, and I'm starving. He said, his stomach growling. Dinner was a lot of fun, everything had returned to normal. Everyone was laughing and joking with each other. When it was time to sleep, everyone left the cafeteria to go to their respective cabins. That's when Naruto was called by Reiner and Bertholdt to talk. Naruto. Did something happen? Reiner. No, Naruto. We just wanted to thank you for saving Krista. Bertholdt. Reiner is right, but why did you do it? You could have died. Naruto. Well, a teammate once told me something that I carry with me to this day. Those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their friends are worse than trash. Reiner. That's very wise. I'd love to meet him someday. Naruto. I'm sorry to say that you can't. He passed away many years ago. He said with a sad smile. Bertholdt. I'm sorry about that. Well, I guess it's time we head to the cabin. Naruto. Go without me. I'd like to get some fresh air. I just need a minute. Reiner. As you wish, but be careful that Shadis doesn't see you, or he might punish you. Well, let's go, Bertholdt. See you later, Naruto. He said, walking away. Naruto. You know spying on other people's conversations is rude, right? He said, looking at the dark side of the cabin, where Annie appeared. Annie. It seemed interesting to me. Besides, I wanted to talk to you, but it seems like you're always with those annoying girls. Naruto. I don't find them annoying. They care about me, and I care about them. But if you want to talk to me, you just had to say so. Annie. It's not that easy. Let's just say, I don't connect with people much. Naruto. Well, at first, I was like you. You just need to open up a little at a time with others, and it'll get better. Annie. I think so. Naruto. So, what did you want to talk about? Are you having a problem? Annie. The fact that you saved Krista and got hurt in the process caught my attention. But listen to this phrase you said to them, it intrigues me even more. Do you really believe that? Naruto. Of course. We shouldn't abandon a comrade, even if we fail the mission. Human lives are always and will always be more important than the mission. Annie. What if you don't have a choice? What if you can't choose? Naruto. We always have choices. It's just that most of the time, we only see one possible path. Anyway, why are you asking me this? Did something happen to you, Annie? Annie. No, nothing happened, Naruto. I think I should go to sleep, she said, turning to leave, but was stopped by the blonde, who made her look back at him. Naruto. Annie, you have to trust me. If you have a problem, just tell me. I'll help you solve it. Annie. Why should I trust you? Why are you worrying about me? Are you going to end up betraying me like everyone else? Naruto. I would never betray anyone, Annie, especially a friend. I care about you because you're my friend, and friends have to protect each other. I had a friend I couldn't help because he didn't trust anyone or anything. He couldn't see that there were people who could help him. Never hold back your feelings because that will only hurt you. Do you understand? Annie kept staring at the blonde, searching for any sign that he was lying, but the only thing she saw was sincerity and affection. Annie was stunned. Only one person looked at her this way, her father. No one else. But the blonde, at that moment, was genuinely worried about her, and that made her feel cared for. She turned so the blonde wouldn't see her blushing face. She nodded at his words and went to the cabin to think about what he had said. On the other hand, the blonde watched her leave. He promised himself that he would investigate what was hurting her and help her support her in whatever she wanted to do. 1 week later, while all the recruits were asleep, the blonde left the cabin. It was still night. Naruto began walking toward the stable to get a horse. As he was getting closer, he saw a silhouette leaning against the stable door, seemingly waiting for him. Naruto. Instructor Shadis, I thought you were sleeping? Shadis. I would be, but I have to give you some things that Erwin sent for you and wish you good luck. Naruto. What are these things? Shadis pulled out a bag containing a brown jacket with the Survey Corps logo and a short green cape with a hood, which had the Survey Corps logo on the back. Shadis. Erwin left them for you. When you're not wearing them, you can store them in my office unless you want your companions to find out. Although they will eventually find out. Also, I've already prepared your horse. Remember what you learned from Levi. Naruto. Yes, sir, he said, taking off his jacket and putting on the Legion jacket and the cape. Thanks for preparing the horse, sir. Shadis. Thank me by coming back alive. I wouldn't want to have to tell your companions that you died. So, for my sake, come back alive. Naruto. Are you afraid of what the girls will do to you? He said, laughing. Shadis. Tisk. Go before I change my mind, kid. Naruto. Yes, sir, he said, starting to move away with the horse. Naruto was heading to the Clorva district, which was north of Trost. He was going over his mission, which seemed slightly easy. He had to gather some medicinal plants for a noble who lived in the countryside of Walsina. According to Levi, the plants grew outside Wall Rose, between the districts of Clorva and Utopia. Levi also explained that his team would be with Erwin at the center of the formation. He also explained how to use the flares and what each color meant. Levi warned that the trip could be dangerous and said that if Naruto wanted a better chance of surviving, he should not leave the formation, even knowing that he had special abilities. It took him about 3 hours to reach the Clorva district. He saw people outside their houses and children playing in the street. He noticed that the children were looking at him with enthusiasm upon seeing that he belonged to the Scouting Legion, but the adults looked at him differently. They showed sadness and seriousness. He knew the reason for those looks. All civilians were aware of the losses the Scouting Legion suffered in each expedition. He rode a little faster towards the exit that led outside. It didn't take long to spot the rest of the Scouting Legion members. There were about 50 to 60 men and women on horseback. It took a little while to find Levi in the crowd, but he eventually spotted him. He was talking to Erwin and 6 others. Naruto walked over to them. Naruto. Erwin Dancho, Levi Taiko. He shouted to get their attention. Erwin. Naruto, I'm glad you made it. He said with a smile. Levi. We thought you'd never arrive, we thought you had given up. He said, smiling. Naruto. I would never. I'll never give up. Erwin. That's the spirit. He said, smiling even more. Hange. Sorry to interrupt, but who's this kid? Isn't he too young to come with us? Mike. Hange is right. He's still a kid, he said, giving the blonde a disapproving look. Erwin. Sorry for not introducing him earlier. Naruto, this is the Scout Legion Lieutenant, Hange Zoe, and the squad leader Mike Zacharias. Hange, Mike, this is the kid I told you about, Naruto Uzumaki. He said with a smile, making both surprised. Mike. Wow, you didn't say he was this young. Erwin. But I also didn't say he was an adult. Hange. Nice to meet you, Naruto. Erwin spoke very highly of you. I hope you don't disappoint us. Naruto. I won't disappoint. Hange. I like this kid. Mike. You smell weird, kid. You smell like a fox. Naruto. Sorry? Erwin. Don't worry, Naruto. Mike's sense of smell is very sharp. Thanks to him, we can detect nearby titans by their scent and avoid attacks. Naruto. That's amazing, he said, making Mike smile proudly. Levi. Well, Naruto, let me introduce you to my squad, which you'll be part of temporarily. He said, pointing to each one. These are Oruo Basard, Gunther Schultz, Yim, and Petra Rahl. Naruto. Nice to meet you, guys. Oruo. Tisk, why do we have to take care of this kid, Taiko? Petra. Oruo, stop acting like Levi Taiko. She said, getting closer to the blonde. Sorry about that, my companion is an old grump. Nice to meet you, Naruto. She said, smiling slightly and blushing. Naruto. No problem, Petra-chan. Nice to meet you too. He said, smiling, which made Petra blush even more. Nice to meet you, kid. Hope we get along, he said, getting a nod from the blonde. Gunther. Yeah, kid, I hope you know what you're getting into. You're at the table with the big guys now. Naruto. If the old grump is here, I'm here too. He said, receiving a death glare from Oruo and laughter from the others. Hange. So, where will Naruto stay? I don't remember seeing him at the center of formation. Levi. He's going to stay on the left side, by Erwin's order. Petra. Why? If he's in our squad, shouldn't he stay with us? She asked, concerned for her new teammate. Erwin. I need Naruto to stay there due to a lack of men. Also, I want to see what he's capable of in the center. He won't show much staying with us, he said, making Petra feel uneasy. Erwin. I think it's time to start. Levi. Naruto, take your position. Naruto. Hi, Petra. Taiko, I don't like the idea of Naruto not coming with us. She said, making the dwarf raise an eyebrow and Hange smile. Hange. Oh, our little Petra is worried about him. Could she have fallen in love? She said, making everyone look at Petra, who was very embarrassed. Petra. And no, I'm just worried about him. She shouted, making Hange laugh. Levi. Can we leave this conversation for later and start? Erwin. I agree, he said, stepping in front of everyone. Attention, it's time. Everyone took their positions with their horses behind Erwin, who had a serious expression while the front gate opened, revealing the Titan zone. Erwin. It's time. Show the will of each of you. He shouted, raising his sword. Fight until death. Everyone. Until death. They shouted, raising their swords. Erwin. Give your hearts for humanity once again. He shouted, pointing his sword outward. Advance. Everyone began to ride, following Erwin for the expedition. Naruto was riding in formation with the group on the left. Seconds after the expedition began, he had already separated from the center and was now under the command of the squad leader, Flagenfurit. As he continued riding, he heard the sound of a pistol shot. Looking up at the sky, he saw a green flare in a direction different from the formation. The blonde grabbed his own pistol and fired a green flare in the same direction. His path remained calm until he spotted several red flares alerting everyone. A red flare signaled the presence of nearby titans. Ahead of the blonde squad, a dozen titans were approaching, while another dozen were closing in from the sides. Flagon fired a red flare toward the titans and then shouted to the squad. Flagon. In open fields, use the nearest trees to evade the titans, take them down, and return to formation. Everyone. Yes, sir. As ordered, they split from the formation and headed for the nearest trees. Naruto. Distract them as much as you can while I slice their napes. Soldiers. Understood. When they reached the trees, they began riding in a triangular formation with Naruto at the front. They didn't have to wait long before two titans rushed toward them. One 5 meters tall and the other 7 meters tall. Naruto. Get ready, he shouted, unsheathing his blades. Now. The soldiers soared into the air using their gear on the trees, drawing the titans' attention and clearing the path for the blonde to use his gear and slice both titans' napes cleanly and efficiently. Naruto. 2 down, he whispered, mounting his horse again and moving forward. Soldier 1. Nice work, kid, he said, riding alongside the blonde. He had short brown hair, black eyes, a slender build, and medium height. What caught Naruto's attention was the peculiar scar on one of his cheeks. He looked about 19 years old. Soldier 2. Yeah, that was amazing. This one had black hair and green eyes, a slender build, slightly shorter than the first, and the same age. Naruto. I didn't do it alone. It was good teamwork. It wouldn't have been so easy if you hadn't distracted them. Soldier 1. What's your name, kid? Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. And yours? Soldier 1. My name's Tom Allen, and this is my best friend Reese Hayden. Reese. Nice to meet you, Naruto. He said, riding alongside them. Naruto. The pleasure's mine. He replied, turning his head in the opposite direction as he heard a shot and saw a green flare in the sky. I think we'd better return to the formation. Tom. Agreed. Let's go, Reese. He said, urging his horse forward. Reese. Right behind you. He confirmed, following them. They were riding one after another toward the direction where the flare had been fired. The three of them didn't have to wait long before spotting the squad again, still together and in formation, though the blonde noticed that some soldiers were missing. Naruto sped up, urging his horse to join them quickly. Naruto. Captain. He shouted, drawing the group's attention as they continued riding. Flagon. Glad to see you're okay. We need more men. Naruto. What about the rest of the squad, Captain? Flagon. Dead soldiers. The Titans got them. Reese. How much farther to the destination? Flagon. About 5 to 10 kilometers. Stay alert in the meantime. The Titans could return at any moment. About 10 minutes later, they stopped in a field near the trees, just in case the Titans reappeared. Flagon. All right, we'll wait here until we receive the signal. Spread out to cover more ground. Everyone. Understood. Naruto moved to the right, followed by Tom and Reese. Naruto. Looks like we're going to have to wait. Tom. Better than facing Titans, he said, seeing Naruto and Reese nod in agreement. Naruto. Now that we've got some time, we can introduce ourselves properly. Reese. Sounds good to me. Tom. No problem with that. Naruto. Well, you two can start, he said, receiving nods from both of them. Reese. Aren't you a bit young to be here? I mean, you're younger than us. Naruto. Yeah, I haven't officially graduated as a soldier yet. Commander Irwin and Captain Levi saw my potential and asked me to join. Reese. Wow, you must be pretty skilled. Even if you weren't here, I'm sure we could have taken down those Titans. Tom. I agree. Now it's your turn, Naruto. Naruto. And what about you two? What brought you here? Tom. Well, Reese always wanted to leave the walls since we were kids. As soon as he got the chance to enlist, he dragged me along, and the rest is history. Reese. You forgot to mention the beating your mom gave you when she found out you enlisted, he said, laughing, making the blonde laugh too and causing a vein to pop on Tom's forehead. Tom. How could I hide it from her when you barged into my house yelling that we'd been chosen, you idiot? Reese. I was excited, what did you expect me to do? Tom. You could have told me somewhere else, you moron. Reese. You're such a grump. Tom. Idiot. As the argument continued, the blonde watched the scene with a smile. He remembered the silly arguments he used to have with Sasuke. After a few minutes they stopped. Naruto. Finished already? He asked, smiling. Tom. Reese. Yes. The three heard the sound of a shot and looked up at the sky. They saw a yellow flare, signaling the end of the expedition, followed by several green flares to the right and left. Flagon. Move out, defensive formation. Everyone quickly mounted their horses again, forming a defensive formation behind Flagon, who led from the front. Other soldiers positioned themselves on the sides, while Naruto, Tom, and Reese closed the formation at the rear. The first flare was fired from the center and to the right, alerting Flagon and his comrades. They quickly saw several Titans approaching in larger numbers. Soldier. Captain, there are too many of them, yelled a terrified soldier, but Flagon was determined to face them head-on. Flagon. Hold the formation. Soldier. Captain, more Titans, shouted another soldier, equally terrified. Flagon. It doesn't matter. We can't let them reach the center, we can't fail the mission. Naruto. He's lost it. Does he want to get us all killed or what? He thought. Naruto. Same strategy, don't stray too far apart. He yelled to his comrades. Tom. Reese. Got it. They shouted back, following Flagon. The The distance between them and the Titans was minimal, so they prepared for battle. Flagon, draw your swords, he shouted, riding faster. Attack. Flagon flew at high speed using his ODM gear toward one of the Titans, followed by the other soldiers. Naruto, stay together, he yelled, advancing toward the Titans. Tom, Reese. Got it. They shouted, following Flagon. Naruto flew through the numerous Titans, slicing their napes as they were distracted by his comrades. After several minutes of fighting, he finished off one more Titan and moved on to the next, a 15-meter Titan standing in his path. He quickly slashed the Titan's leg, causing it to lose balance, then flew up its body, delivering multiple cuts until he reached the nape, killing it for good. As he observed the area around him, he realized the gravity of the situation. The Titans kept coming, and most of the soldiers were already dead. He saw Flagon's body lying lifeless, the lower half missing, in a pool of his own blood. Naruto knew this was a terrible idea from the start, and now they were paying the price. He was snapped out of his thoughts by Reese's scream from the left. He turned and froze. Tom was dead on the ground, covered in blood, and beside him was Reese, paralyzed. How this had happened was the only thing the blonde could think about. He had been distracted, and now Tom, along with most of his comrades, was dead. He needed to pull himself together quickly. At the very least, he had to get Reese out of there. But to his misfortune, he was out of gas. He only had one option: to use some of his abilities. But first, he needed to make Reese snap out of it so they could escape. Naruto. Reese, let's go. He shouted, but got no response. Reese remained beside Tom's lifeless body. Meanwhile, Reese was frozen, staring at his best friend's dead body. The pain he felt turned into fury. He gripped the handles of his swords tightly and fixed his gaze on the nearest Titan. Reese. Rest in peace, brother. I will avenge you, he said with his eyes closed before standing up, switching his blades, and walking slowly toward the Titan. Naruto saw his last companion stand and charged toward the nearest Titan. He knew what Reese was about to do, but he couldn't let him die too. Naruto. Reese, stop. He shouted, running after him, but abruptly stopped as a Titan emerged in front of him, blocking his path. Helpless, he watched as Reese ran toward the Titan. Reese. Reese charged at the Titan, using the last of his gas to move faster. The first Titan fell quickly, his strikes were filled with rage. Reese. You will pay for what you've done, he screamed, slicing the nape of another Titan before moving toward the next. But unfortunately, his gas ran out, leaving him at the mercy of a Titan that opened its mouth, exposing its teeth. Reese closed his eyes, resigned to his fate. He had died fighting as he wanted and had avenged his best friend. Half of his body was already inside the Titan's mouth when it closed its jaws tightly, tearing him in half. The Titan devoured his upper body while the lower half fell to the ground. Naruto watched his last companion die, unable to do anything to save him. He felt useless and disgusted with himself. Not letting his comrades die was one of his strongest ideals, and now he had failed. The anger within him only grew. His gaze darkened as he gripped the broken-bladed sword tightly. He was surrounded by approximately 15 Titans closing in on him, but he would finish off every single one of them for killing his comrades. Naruto. You don't deserve to live. You don't deserve to exist, he said in a cold tone that would chill anyone to the bone. Naruto. You have committed a terrible crime, and he said, extending his hand to materialize a white katana with red details. Will destroy you all, he declared, lifting his gaze, activating the Mangekyo Sharingan, which spun violently. He attacked the Titans mercilessly, completely ignoring the green flares that had been fired. Meanwhile, in the center of the formation, the survivors from the right flank gathered in the center after fleeing from the swarm of Titans. Erwin, observing the situation, decided it was better to shift toward the left flank. He fired a green signal flare toward the left, hoping for a response that never came. Hange. Erwin, there's no response from the left flank. Levi. We've noticed, 4 eyes. Erwin. Let's change course to search for them. Oruo. I don't like this. Petra. Captain, they're okay, right? She asked, worried about their new blonde companion. Levi. I don't know, Petra. Be prepared for anything. Petra. Understood. Erwin. Mike, can you track someone? Mike. Yes. Over there. Their scent is mixed with the smell of blood. Erwin. Let's move quickly. The entire formation followed Mike. After some time, they arrived at an area filled with the corpses of soldiers and the bodies of dead titans. Eld. Holy shit, he whispered, horrified by the bloody scene. Hange. Now we know why we didn't get a signal, she said, spotting the soldiers' bodies until her gaze landed on a particular one. Here's the squad leader. Erwin. Flagon, he murmured, staring at the remains. Levi. Looks like they were outnumbered, he commented, glancing at Flagon's body. Erwin. Gather the bodies and load them onto the wagon. He ordered 3 soldiers. Gunther. Did you find the boy's body? He asked, scanning the area. Eld. There's no trace of him. Oruo. He was probably eaten, he said, earning a death glare from Petra. Mike. Commander, I can smell the boy. He's not far from here, and he's with Titans. Petra. What are you waiting for? Show us the way, she shouted, startling Mike and surprising the others. Mike. This way, he said, galloping forward, followed by Petra and the rest of the group. After passing through a line of trees, they came across more than 10 mutilated Titans, their arms and legs severed. The massacre left everyone stunned. Hange. What happened here? She asked, seeking a logical explanation. Eld. Damn, he muttered, visibly shocked. Gunther. Who did this? He questioned, staring at the Titan remains. Levi. Him, he said, drawing everyone's attention to where he was pointing. On top of a dead Titan's head stood a figure with his back turned to the group, drenched in blood from head to toe. What was once sun-kissed blonde hair was now a mere shadow of itself. His green cape, bearing the scout regiment's insignia, fluttered in the wind, and in his hand was a blood-soaked katana. It seemed like he was either ignoring them completely or hadn't noticed their presence. Petra. Is that him? She whispered to Mike, who heard her clearly. Mike. Yes, it's Naruto. His scent doesn't lie. Oruo. Get over here, brat. He yelled, but the blonde completely ignored him. Don't ignore me, you idiot. He shouted again, enraged, and was about to dismount his horse but was stopped by Levi. Levi. Wait, Oruo. I'll go, he said, approaching the blonde, followed closely by Petra, who looked concerned. Levi. Naruto. Meanwhile, the blonde man was gazing at the cloudy sky, unaware of the people standing behind him. He didn't even hear Oruo's voice. He only reacted when he heard a familiar voice call his name. Naruto. Levi? He said, his voice hoarse and dull, turning around and activating the Mangekyo Sharingan, which rotated slowly. Levi and the others stepped back slightly upon seeing the blonde's eyes. They weren't normal. His eyes should have been blue, but now they were red with a slowly spinning symbol in the center. This alarmed some of them, prompting them to grip their swords. Levi's squad stared seriously at the blonde, prepared for anything, except Petra, who looked at him, both surprised and worried. Erwin, Hange, and Mike stood next to Levi, their expressions serious as they watched the blonde. Naruto. What is it? He asked, noticing their fearful stares. Petra. Your eyes, they're different, she said nervously, as he fixed his intense gaze on her. Naruto raised an eyebrow, realizing the mistake he had just made. He had forgotten to deactivate the Mangekyo after finishing off the Titans. Closing his eyes, he stopped channeling chakra into them. When he reopened his eyes, they returned to the familiar blue everyone knew. Erwin. What were those eyes, Naruto? He asked sternly. Naruto. Let's just say it's a skill I have, he replied with a sigh. Hange. A skill? Naruto hesitated, unsure how to explain it. He desperately needed help. Levi. Naruto has unique abilities. Gunther. Wait, you knew about this, Levi? Levi. He told me during our training. He asked me not to tell anyone. Erwin. You know that could be considered treason, Levi. Naruto. I asked him to stay silent, Commander. If he had said anything, powerful people might have tried to use me as a weapon, and I don't want that. Hange. What can you do with those eyes, and how do you activate them? She asked, clearly intrigued. Naruto. I activate them by using chakra, which is an energy I possess and can use exclusively. As for what they can do, that's a much more complex answer. Petra. Can you do other things with chakra? Naruto. Yes. Erwin. Could you demonstrate? Hange. Yes, please show us. She asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Naruto. Well, since I don't really have a choice, he said, turning to the side and making intricate hand signs. Then, he raised a hand to his mouth. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. He shouted, releasing a large fireball that left everyone astonished. Hange. Amazing, she exclaimed, thoroughly impressed by what she saw. What else can you do? Show me everything. Levi. Calm down, 4 eyes. Oruo. Did he just spit fire? Eld. My god, he whispered, making Gunther laugh. Gunther. This kid never ceases to amaze me, he said, laughing at the others' expressions. Erwin. Why didn't you ever tell me you could do these things? Naruto. I didn't know how you would react. Erwin. How many things can you do? Naruto. I could bring down an entire wall with one of my techniques, he said simply, making everyone look at him with wide eyes. Hange. Let me know when you're going to do that, please, she said, making everyone sweat drop. Mike. Me too, he added, increasing the sweat drop. Levi. You're all so annoying. Erwin. I just want to ask one question. What's your purpose for using your powers? Naruto. I want to reclaim Wall Maria and kill as many titans as I can, he said, making the group smile. Erwin. When we get back to the base, you'll need to show me what else you can do, Naruto. You might just be the key we need to defeat the titans, he said, placing his hands on the blonde's shoulders. Naruto. Yes, sir. Erwin. Attention, he shouted, catching the group's attention. This kid right here, he pointed at the blonde, has abilities no one else has. He might be what we need to reclaim Wall Maria and defeat the titans, he shouted, making the others smile and raise their swords. Soldier 1. Yes, with this kid on our side, we'll make it. Soldier 2. It'll be much easier with him. Oruo. Tisk, you won this time, kid, but you're still an arrogant brat. Eld. All kinds of help are welcome, even if they have strange abilities, he said, smiling. Gunther. That's true. Naruto was quite surprised by how quickly they accepted him. Naruto. Thanks, guys, really. Levi. Don't mention it. I told you, you wouldn't be alone in this. Help us win. Erwin. We need you. Naruto. You can count on me, he said, smiling. Levi. We better get out of here. It's getting late, and we're in Titan territory. Erwin. You're right. Naruto, you'll go with Petra. Everyone else, prepare to leave. Everyone. Hi. Naruto walked up to Petra, who was waiting for him. Naruto. I hope I'm not bothering you. Petra. Of course not. Climb up, she said, helping him up and noticing how he held onto her hips, which made her blush. Naruto. Aren't you afraid of me? He asked, making her turn slightly. Petra. No, you would never hurt me. I'd trust you. Naruto. Really? Petra. Of course. I was worried when you didn't show up. I thought we'd lost you. Naruto. Sorry. I lost my comrades and couldn't do anything. I feel like I failed. Petra. We've all lost people, Naruto. They know you did everything you could. You need to move on and turn the page. If you need help, just let me know. I'll always be here for whatever you need. Naruto. Thank you, Petra, and sorry for worrying you. Petra. It's okay. You're here with us, and that's what matters. Naruto. Then, get used to it because you're going to see me a lot. Petra. I'll have to put up with you a lot, then, she said, smiling. Naruto. You're mean, Petra-chan, he said, making her laugh. Petra. Hold on tight, or you'll fall, she said, starting to ride faster. Naruto. Got it, fair lady, he said, smiling and holding on tighter to the girl, who was blushing deeply at the blonde's words. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.